The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Well, did I guess Rumble Studio froze again on the intro, at least for me.
Oh,
But
fine. It was fine on my end. I don't know.
Here. By the way, I actually, out of all the themes I've had over the years, that's the one theme that I'll just pop on casually and listen to just because the beats are so sick.
You have no idea how long I worked on those drum samples specifically to get them. You know how it has that little bite to it? Oh, that took a lot. I'm glad you appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I do. It actually like gets me hyped when I'm doing physical therapy workouts.
Nice.
And since today is Wednesday, that's where I was at today. But anyway, welcome to the show, folks. I hope everyone is doing well. We already have 12 people in here, so hello to chat. Chibi, Roman Dip, and of course Joe. So our main our super fans, as I like to call them. So anyway, hope everyone is doing well. And Max, apparently we're supposed to grant Zuckerberg clemency or something now because he admitted to like Facebook censorship or something.
As far as I can tell, what he specifically admitted to was that the government did pressure them to censor related to COVID-related content. I'm not misinterpreting?
No, you're not misinterpreting at all. I actually have the letter here, which I'm going to read.
Might as well get it from the fucking rich horse's mouth, right?
Once I queue it up on screen. So this is from August 26th. Jim Jordan. Okay. Chairman Jordan, I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. As you are aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents as part of your investigation and made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. Further to our cooperation with your investigation, I welcome the opportunity to share what I've taken away from the process. There's a lot of talk right now on how the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our position. Our platforms are for everyone. We are about promoting speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is BS, but let's continue. As part of this,
for everyone but me.
Yeah, or people, or any one of us who happen to go against the left-wing orthodoxy. But anyway,
or some guy that accidentally refers to a car transmission as a tranny in a thread about mechanic work. Yeah, he has to go too.
Oh God,
except you hateful people. Go ahead.
Yeah. As part of this, we regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns around public discourse and public safety. There's that magic word again, public safety. In 2021, senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID content.
I'm going to say the fact that it's 2021, it's probably more specifically about the vaccine.
Well, you're not wrong, Max. That is exactly what it is. I'm not going to, basically, you just saved me time of reading a whole paragraph.
Right.
Basically, he goes on to say that the government's pressure to do that was wrong, but yada, yada, yada. And then he continues on, last paragraph, I'll just skip that. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us of a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family. And in Bermuda, that led up to the 2020 election. Why would Bermuda be involved at all? That's weird. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story about reporting the corruption allegations involving the Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden family, we sent that story to a fact checker for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. So basically, Zuck is also now admitting that he censored the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Shocking!
Yeah, so
no one had suspected that they did that at all, Sam.
So that's basically and then he goes on to basically write a letter to basically conclude in that letter I'm sorry, and that's it. So essentially, as I titled the program, basically he confirmed what we all knew, and but I don't know why some people are acting like this is some hot news story.
Or that it's going to affect Facebook at all. People think it's going to... Bro, newsflash, they already banned all the conservatives in Facebook, most of them. There's not enough conservatives on Facebook. You can't say, oh, we're going to boycott Facebook now. How are you going to do that? You're all fucking banned.
Yeah.
I'm boycotting Facebook. Why? Because they deleted my account in 2019.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not. It's not a boycott, and it's not going to harm their bottom line because that's not who they cater to anymore. As a matter of fact, Facebook doesn't even make them the money anymore. Insta does. The fucking VR shit makes more money than Facebook at this point. Yeah. Facebook is a dying brand. He knows that. He also knows he's at no risk by saying any of this. No one is going to take him to court. No one is going to charge him with a crime. Right? It's just not going to happen. Right. So it's not going to affect his business very much. Why is he saying it then? I have a theory. Have you seen the video that's come out where he told employees in secret not to take the vaccine in 2021. The same time that this is going on, that he's banning people over misinformation about the vaccine, he literally told his top level staff not to take it.
I heard there was video out there, but I didn't actually know that it was real and not.
He's very specific in that video and it's as far as I'm aware, it is real. It's definitely him, unless it's a really amazing AI. I don't think it's fake, Sam. And he says, we aren't aware of the long-term side effects. And so in the interest of public health, since you're all already social isolation or whatever, don't take the vaccine for right now. That he point blank is telling his employees the opposite of what you would get banned. You would get banned for saying the same thing he's saying to his employees on his website. He has no goddamn remorse about that. Why would he? You're a peon to him. You're people.
Okay, so I think I actually found the video that you're referring to, and I haven't seen this, so we'll have to watch live.
Yeah.
And
you see, you look at the alien face there. How could you fake that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
he's one of a kind, you know.
Well, he literally does look like an android.
All right, well, Doctor, I strongly agree that we need somewhat of a reset here. You know, as someone running a business, you know, I've said that I believe the best way to improve both public health and economic opportunity in this country is to focus on beating this virus first. And I also have to say, I think you might be quite generous in your description of the government's response here. You know, I was certainly sympathetic early on when it was clear that there would be some outbreaks, no matter how well we handled this. But you know, now that we're here in July, I just think that it was avoidable, and it's really disappointing that we still don't have adequate testing, that the credibility of our top scientists like yourself and the CDC are being undermined. And until recently, that parts of the administration were calling into question whether people should even follow basic best practices like wearing masks.
I don't know if that's the video.
That's from the same video, but at one point he specifically urges caution to his employees about the vaccine, and I quote, because it's untested. That's a quote.
Yeah, and you know what's funny about that, Max? Like that was my exact position. That's why I never took the vaccine, and right. I said that on this show back when Apex, was.
Look, I would have no problem with him having that position, except for the fact that he banned thousands, potentially millions of people for saying the common sense thing that he said behind closed doors. So it's do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
Rich people are different than you. You take the vaccine. You wear the mask. Me, I'm rich.
Yeah. And if you, the peon, says the same thing that I'm saying, well, then you're crazy and insane and should, not have a right to speak.
Right. No, it's like that's the most common, I think, opinion on the vaccine among, I won't even say anti-vax, but the vaccine hesitant, let's say. Let's use that term.
Yeah.
The people who are hesitant about vaccines, that's a lot of their reasoning is that there's not been enough testing on it. That, to me, that's very reasonable.
Well, and I'm actually glad that you brought that up, Max, because that was one of the most difficult things that, I personally had to deal with, and a lot of people I know who were in my position had to deal with was, I'm not anti-vaccine. I do think that it's good to have, inoculations for school and, at birth, things like that.
Because they always like to conflate childhood vaccination with COVID vax.
Yeah.
But it's not even the same as a flu vaccine.
Right.
It's different. Right. These are different things. And and if anything, the COVID vax is more similar to a flu vaccine, in the way it's given. So No, it's just
Yeah. And
it's okay to have your questions, and it's your personal health that you're making personal decisions about. And that's why all the mandates fell flat on their fucking face in this country.
Yeah.
And they will continue to do so. They can try, and I know they've been trying to create diseases all summer, because the last time when they had diseases, they could just fake all these mail-in, votes and win an election. Well, they got an election coming up. We got bird flu. We got monkeypox. Nobody cares. I'll tell you this. If you're a Democrat that happens to be watching this, a liberal, even if you believe strongly in the lockdownerism and the COVID response that we had, it's never going to happen again.
No.
Because a lot of the reasonable people who were going along with it because it was presented to them in a reasonable way at first, very quickly realized it was not reasonable. And so if you try to do it again, they're just going to say, and I'm going to be one of the biggest ones, I will actively violate any lockdown, to the point, if they're going to lock me up for it, then lock me the fuck up.
Yeah.
I will absolutely go to jail for my freedom of movement in this country.
Yeah, as will I. Although that would be a really cruel joke, considering that I already have.
Irony, yeah.
Considering what's locking the guy up who already has limited mobility and limited movement? But
right. Hey, those limitations are placed by God, not some asshole at the CDC. Okay, it's different.
Yeah. Well,
you're used to those limitations, but they can't. I'm so sick of, you can't go to this. Oh, you gotta stand fucking 6 feet from other people. Oh, you can't have a funeral. Hey, anybody else lose somebody during that pandemic? Wasn't that fun, where we weren't allowed to have people at our fucking family funerals? That was great.
Yeah.
And then they put George Floyd's golden casket fucking bullshit on TV just to let us know, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck anybody you cared about that died. You're all peons to us, and you'll do what we say. But I'm telling you right now, you can call it bird flu, you can call it monkeypox, you can call it the fucking the tin can alley fucking two-step. Doesn't matter what you call it, people ain't locking down again. It's not gonna happen.
Nope. I love that they made it monkeypox this time, which nobody believes that's a serious threat in and of itself. So,
I mean, look, if you don't wash your hands and also you touch poop, then it's pretty dangerous. How many of us don't wash our hands after touching poop regularly?
No.
It can be blood or pee as well, but it's mostly poop. So, hey, guys out there, advice: if you're afraid of monkeypox, just don't touch poop and wash your hands.
Yeah. And
actually, if you do touch poop, just wash your hands and you're good. You won't get monkeypox if you do that. Roman in chat says, what if you lick buttholes? Well, then you're cutting out the middleman. You're just eating the poop right from the source, and you're probably... Actually, though, you probably won't even get monkeypox then, because the other person has to have monkeypox. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, to me it is kind of comic. It's almost comical that this is the new pandemic, because it's one of those things that you look up and it's okay, this is what monkeypox is like. Oh, it's not that bad.
Why are there kids and dogs getting it, Sam? Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
I mean, I could, but because dogs are dogs, and they, and kids, tiny kids, don't know any better either. But other than that,
It's also really weird that it's centrally located in San Francisco, huh? That's weird. It's almost like it's related to certain behaviors that are prevalent in that particular region.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you're into those kind of behaviors, you're the one that should be extra careful. And I can totally understand why you might be scared of monkeypox. But me, as a guy that doesn't have sex with other men, not worried about monkeypox.
Yeah, me either. I like I wasn't even afraid of COVID. Even when I got it, I was like man, this sucks.
I guess I should say I'm still not, right? Because technically, officially, I've never had COVID.
Yeah. Well,
but I think I did, but it was like before the pandemic really started because we all got sick. And I'm telling you, Sam, I've been face to face with people with COVID, like right here, and didn't get it.
Well, Max, I mean, for you specifically, because you've been in combat sports before and you've probably been hit really hard, it's probably not going to be that bad. For me, at least, when I got because I got it twice. The second time I got it when it was really bad, it did feel like I had been in a fight and I was it wasn't fun, but it didn't kill me. So
yeah. No, I'm not like if I were to get it, I don't think I'd be particularly concerned either.
No.
But for officially, I've been tested a bunch of times, and because my boy was going to school, and it's like, well, somebody in his class had it, and we all took tests, and nobody has it. I've just never had COVID, as far as I'm aware. But I'm not scared of it.
Yeah. So next story, I wouldn't even call it a big story. RFK endorsed Trump, and people are trying to make this into a big story. And
to be fair, Trump is trying to make it into a big story, and I'll give him. There's some reasoning behind that makes sense. I just don't think it is a big deal. I don't think that anybody that was going to vote for RFK is actually going to switch over and vote for Trump. I think a lot of people said they were, but I think most of those people aren't even voters because the polling didn't support that. It didn't support that he had a large fan base at all. I know a lot of right-wing people liked his stance on the COVID stuff. I do too. But what you might not like about him is his stance on guns, on taxes, on healthcare, on every issue except COVID. You might find that he is far left, like I've been saying on this show since he announced. And they're like, oh no, RFK's still on the ballot in Wisconsin, in Michigan, even though he dropped out. Oh no, what's Trump going to do? I'm like, Trump? What's Harris going to do? RFK ain't taking votes from Trump. You know who RFK was going to take votes from? Them. You know why?
Yeah.
Vaccine hesitant left-wingers will vote for RFK. Because everything else about him is left-wing except the vaccine hesitant. And there absolutely are. And the same left-wing that used to talk about how vaccines cause autism and all this stuff, like that had always been a left-wing position up until COVID vaccines. Now it's a right-wing position to be anti-childhood vaccines, which is weird. But either way, there's a left wing that doesn't like vaccines and particularly didn't like the way COVID was handled. They tend to be like the center left, but they definitely are more likely to vote for an RFK over a Biden or a Harris. But would that person vote for Trump? Well, absolutely not. If you're big on RFK for any other reason than the fucking COVID stuff, then you're a left winger.
Yeah.
Period. But most of the people, I think, because you'd said, even some people had said this, that they might vote for him. I just don't think that's the case. I think either they didn't know much about him or they're probably just not voters. Right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
well,
if you know about him, if you're a right winger and Trump is too mean, he's still not a good replacement.
no,
Because he's not a right winger at all on any issue.
well, it's funny. It's funny you say that, Max, because the people who think that that like the conservatives who think Trump is they're not conservatives actually. The rhinos, the Republicans in name only, who think that Trump is mean, they endorsed Kamala.
To be fair, I was misled by that as well, Sam. No, they didn't. Their staffers did. That's why I was like, John McCain didn't fucking endorse Kamala because he's dead. Turns out, if you actually read the article, it was some dude that worked for John McCain one time. It's some dude that worked. Well, actually, Romney signed off on it, but Bush Sr. didn't. Bush Jr. didn't. That's not true. It's staffers from their administration who have signed on to that thing. So it's being misrepresented by the media, basically.
Oh, well, that's no surprise either. But it also
That's why I had to read, because when I saw McCain, I was like, something here is fishy.
Yeah, that
He's been dead for a little while now.
Well, okay, yeah, he's been in the ground for a while. But to be fair, I actually
also fuck John McCain, and I hope he's burning in hell.
Yeah, rest in piss, John McCain. Also,
and hopefully both those Bushes join him soon.
Well, to that point about the Bushes, the reason why I thought it was real for a second back is because I had the same reaction you did, where I'm like, wait, John McCain is dead. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Bushes endorsed Kamala.
I was actually surprised that it wasn't actually the Bushes, that it was just staffers, and they're making such a big deal out of it. The only notable name on there is Mitt Romney.
Yeah, notable. Max,
yeah. And hey, Mitt Romney voted for Obama, so
Max, I'm pretty sure we have more notability than Mitt Romney does at this point.
I mean, he was running against him, but he still had to vote for Obama, don't you know?
Well, yeah, because he has
if he'd not voted for Obama, Sam, an evil right winger might have won. Mitt Romney can't have evil right wingers win, even if it's him.
Right.
But he's a Republican, guys. You know, Sam. You know he invented Obamacare?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love to bring this up because people don't know the history. It's called Romney Care. It was called Romney Care long before Obama was president. It's been in our state since 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's socialized medicine. You know what he also did? An assault weapons ban. Does this sound like a right winger to you?
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, and raised taxes. That was a fun one when he raised taxes on us. And then he ran for president saying he was on the right. And I'm like, how? What policy?
I am still pissed at the Republican Party to this day that they folded because Herman Cain had an affair, and they shunned him and gave us Mitt Romney instead, who's not even conservative. Herman Cain could have won against Obama. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, but he wasn't going to win the primary, though, because the mainstream establishment was firmly behind Romney from before he even announced.
Yep, and that's why I love Trump, because when they tried to call Trump out on all his extramarital affairs, Trump was basically like, so what? I'm still running. Fuck you guys. So
they like it when you grab them by the pussy.
Yeah, which isn't even anything that Trump said while he was running. That happened like back in 2000.
That's also true.
5. Yeah, it is. I mean, I bet you heard my interview with Karina. She did say that like her one of her friends dated Trump and that he is charming. So
and rich.
Yeah.
And famous.
And
people and motherfuckers think hoes weren't throwing themselves at him, trying to get him to grab their pussies. Come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. He's just being honest.
Yeah.
They want you to do it. That's what they're there for, because then they have your attention, rich, famous man.
Yeah.
You even get that, like you even get that if you're nowhere near it. Like I had fucking hoes be throwing themselves at me back in the day for being like on staff at a fucking security for a venue for a concert, right? Because they think they can fuck their way backstage. Some women are hoes. I know women don't like to admit it because they think that means that they're a hoe too. Like all women are. No, just some. Some women are fucking hoes. This is what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And if you deny that some women are hoes, well, I don't know what to tell you. Then you're probably in for a bad time if you're a straight man.
Should that really matter if you're running for president though? I mean, that's the other thing. It didn't have, no one seemed to have a big problem when Bill did it. Like,
No, it's funny. It was funny when Bill raped those women. Remember? They made jokes about it. It was so funny when he raped all those women.
Yeah. It
was hilarious that he was a serial rapist. And yeah, that was so funny. Yeah, Bill Clinton, what a guy, huh? Oh, man, that old tricky Bill. Old slick Willie over there. Yeah, it is so funny when he raped all those women. Yeah, and literally, that's how people responded to it. It's like, good fucking... And then Trump's like, yeah, some hoes be throwing themselves at me. And I'm just like, oh, God, he's the devil.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
no.
You're like, oh, yeah, but you remember when Bill Clinton raped those women? Wasn't that funny? Ah! And I'm the retarded one, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah, we're the crazy ones. So
it was all like what fucking Howard Stern thought it was hilarious that Bill Clinton raped all those women. He thought it was so fucking... If you listen to Stern in like the late 90s, every day was a joke about Bill Clinton raping a broad and how funny it was and how much they loved Bill. So I don't want to hear from those people about grabbing him by the pussy, okay? You have no credibility. Because you thought Bill Clinton raping 5 women is hilarious. It's not. It's not funny at all.
Yeah, well, also Howard Stern saying that like Trump's rude and whatnot is also like...
Well, look, Sam, it was very rude of Trump not to let Howard throw baloney at his ass.
I mean...
All right, because we're talking about a comedic genius, the likes of which invented the idea of throwing baloney at a woman's ass. I'm going to take him super serious.
I mean...
That's literally what he's famous for.
Yeah.
That and being fart man. That old boomer chestnut. Oh, the funniest superhero ever. It's fart man. You know what else is funny? Bill Clinton raping people. Ha ha ha. Fuck Howard Stern. Fuck him back then and fuck him now. You know, Don Imus was right about him. And by the way, Don Imus, the first victim of cancel culture.
Yep. Rest in peace.
And notice Howard didn't have his back at all. Oh, it's all about free speech.
Nope.
Except for Don Imus's free speech. Except for anybody that's not Howard's free. You know, Howard did blackface. Howard made
anything that's not fucking woke as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, he's not, right? There's blackface Howard. He says the N-word all the time.
Right, but he's genuflected before the woke, so he gets scot-free.
Yeah. Well, not really, because his career's in the toilet, but mostly. Mostly, it's not like he's going to jail.
Yeah.
It's not like he lost his radio show. He's just nowhere near as relevant as he was.
Well,
Joe Rogan has eaten his lunch. That's what happened.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, he's also that's the other reason why he's mad with Rogan. I don't know if you saw this, but he's mad at Rogan because he claims that Rogan is like spreading misinformation. That's not why he's mad with Rogan at all. He's mad because because Stern made fun of the idea of podcasting and said that it wouldn't work and that anyone who tried it was an idiot. And then both Howard Stern and Adam Carolla, basically made podcasting into what it is today. And Howard Stern is
well, it's jealousy on an even simpler level than that.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan is now what Howard Stern was to radio in 1999. He is the show for the masses. That's it, right? That's what it boils down to. It's a very different show than Howard would run because Howard's show is about, poop jokes and dick jokes and stuff. And Joe Rogan's is, I mean, he there's some of that, but it's not really that.
Yeah.
And he brings on guests with differing opinions and people like it. I'm not a Rogan fan at all. Did you know, Sam, he once copyright struck me?
Yeah.
He copyright struck me and he apologized, so I won't shit on him for it. But I got a copyright strike from JRE Experience YouTube channel. And I had no idea why. It's because the video I did had used a speech from Bill Clinton in 1996, the State of the Union speech. And he used it in one of his videos. So somebody on his staff claimed my fucking video, and I'm like, bro, this is from C-SPAN. This is public footage, you fucking asshole. I wrote a nasty letter to Rogan, and then I got back like the most nice apology, and he removed the strike.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually happened to me too once, where I played an NRA video on my show, and then because he had played the same video, he copyright struck, or someone on his staff did. So same thing.
Yeah.
So,
but no, Joe does well for himself. He started with mostly just MMA audience, really, right? People that were into that kind of stuff. But it's grown into something. Another one I'll point out that's doing way better than Howard Stern via podcasting, and oh man, Morpheus is about to fucking rip me, is Logan Paul. Logan Paul's numbers are way beyond anything Howard's been doing in years.
Yeah.
You love him or hate him, it's just true, right? These people are more relevant.
And that part is fine. My main issue is the crypto bullshit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't know about that, but I knew you had a problem with him, so I said you might rip me a new asshole. But look, his show is very popular. Joe Rogan's show is very popular.
He's for the masses.
Yeah, he's talking like normal people, and that's what Howard actually did used to do. That's why the people listening to Howard Stern in 1999 were all on their way to or from work or at work. Because story time with Max, kiddies. Back in those days, we didn't have all of this technology that we have now. And so you didn't have Spotify on your phone to listen to whatever music you wanted to. You had the radio. And usually the work radio was, you have to put it on the least offensive thing possible that everybody agrees upon. That's really tough at a lot of job sites, okay? And so what ends up happening is, I want to listen to the rock station. That guy wants to listen to the rap station. The girl in the office wants to listen to the fucking pop station. What could we all agree on instead? And it usually ended up being Howard Stern or Alex Jones or Don Imus. Those were the ones that everybody was fine with because it wasn't music.
Really? Alex Jones was the over Rush Limbaugh. Howard Stern was the more agreeable one over.
Yes.
Right. Wow.
Dude, you can't put Rush Limbaugh on at a fucking job site. Everybody would be at each other's throats. Half the people wouldn't like it.
I understand.
Howard at that point was not political. That's what I think people are missing.
No, I get that, but you said Alex Jones.
Yes, Alex Jones.
Too.
Absolutely. Alex Jones' radio show in the after. By the way, it wasn't against Rush. It was in the afternoons.
No, I know. I'm just saying that the fact that Alex Jones was once like widely listened to is
he used to have a like between 3 and 5 million a day audience on the radio. Long before he wasn't as conspiracy as he is now either. He's still a little, but it was a different show back then. Alex Jones has changed a lot.
Oh yeah, I know. Alex Jones has even changed from the time I started listening to him back in like 2006 or so.
Yeah, and this is before he even went to the fucking Moloch statue thing, the Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
Even before that, his radio show was fucking huge. I don't think people realize it. And yes, people would pick Don Imus over Rush Limbaugh. Why? Because if you put Rush Limbaugh on, half the people there are like, fuck this shit. Don Imus, though conservative, much more focused on comedy and not
right.
Controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what we used to listen to. And now if you look at it today, what are people listening to at work more than anything else? Joe Rogan. Logan Paul's another one that's up there, though his show is shorter. See, Joe Rogan's the only one doing those long form podcasts equivalent to radio shows at that level.
Yeah.
No, he's not the only one, but I'm sorry, if you're at a job site, it's probably difficult to put on Steven Crowder. Same reason as Rush Limbaugh back in the day. It's going to be difficult to put on Dan Bongino. But you might get away with a Logan Paul or a Joe Rogan.
They're considered normie podcasters.
Yeah, they're normie podcasts.
And that's why Max, we get a lot of views on the Monday show when I do interviews, usually like on Spotify, because those are mostly the more normie shows that people, even though a lot of my guests are conservative to some degree.
Well, so. I told you we were talking about this in chat in Gilded the other day, right? I try to find lefties to come on. They just won't. They don't want to debate anything. They don't want to have
debate their politics or debate their side.
Well, I'm saying we wouldn't have Sam as an interviewer. It's not even going to be a debate. He's such a good interviewer for that very reason. He's just going to ask questions and try and come to an understanding. But they don't want to talk.
Yeah, they don't want to talk and stand up for their views.
Also, just real quick to chat. Roman says Mitt Romney the pussy. Agreed. Joe Fish says, I used to listen to Imus with my dad. Shout out, dad has great taste. And yeah, Imus was the shit. Chibi says hashtag Max rant must be about the Bill Clinton thing. Everything changed with Obama, says Joe Fish. I listen to theology and you guys. It's like there's so much crap nowadays. It's not worth listening to.
Well, that's one thing I won't do too much promo, but this might be a good time to bring up. I interviewed my friend Jason Veely, who he's going to be. It's pre-recorded, but that episode will air on Monday's Whitfield Report, probably in the afternoon.
And for those that maybe haven't been around with the show for a while, who is Jason?
And Jason is basically, he's my old colleague from back in 2012, who basically immediately after I interviewed Ben Shapiro, he and I connected and we started he already had a podcast network called Junior Factor Nation, which I then, we turned that into Next Gen Conservative. And, he was actually fairly prominent out in Connecticut for a while. He was even on Glenn Beck's old Fox television show. when he went to college, he stepped away from politics for a while, as did I for a bit, to be fair. But I came back to podcasting a little sooner than he did. But he's back now with his show, and it should be pretty interesting. But so we both have been doing podcasting for 16 years too, and I bring him up because one of the things that we talked about on the show when we recorded the interview last night is something that Joe brought up, which is everything changed with Obama. Right, you could, at least among my generation, you could at one point like play video games with people and like not have it be a political thing. Now, like even a lot of AAA games are so woke now that like political messaging is just crammed down your throats. Yep. Now. You can't escape it.
Yep, it's political messaging over the game itself.
And we missed that. So, and by the way, Max, like you asked and Gilded earlier, if I've not played Wu King either.
Oh no, I'm just saying, am I the only person that's not interested? And it seems to be the case. And the reason I'm not interested, I was saying with more than is like I just don't. I'm not sold on, Chinese monkey Dark Souls, right? That's not creative. I've played there's so many Dark Soul ripoff games. It's just another in a sea of them to me.
Yeah.
And also I just don't buy AAA games and I don't buy anything Tencent makes.
Yeah, that's a pretty good reason.
But I get it. People like it for the real reason they like it is because it's. I'm not even gonna say a great game, but it all it has to be is good, and not put politics in.
A lot of the issue, reason why it's got so much wind behind it right now is because they told woke games journalists to piss the fuck off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and to me that's okay, but they're China. That's not them being on your side. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I get your point, but unfortunately, just telling the games journalists to fuck off is going to be enough sometimes.
Yeah. Well, not for me. Y'all enjoy your monkey game. I'm not paying 10 cents for Monkey Dark Souls. That sounds insane to me.
I had it
for the next FromSoft game. How about that?
I hadn't even heard of the Wu King game until like Morpheus mentioned it. So that's how like out of the loop I've been.
I've seen it since they first announced it, and I was like, "Oh, Chinese Dark Souls again," because there's like 25 Chinese Dark Soul clones already, right?
Yeah. I
crazy.
also
and they all suck.
I also saw there's this game coming out with like that's supposed to be like a samurai game, but like the samurai is clearly African, which like I'm not saying
right. So they're taking that's the Assassin's Creed fucking ninja game.
They're
saying Sasuke, who is a real character, a real person, but he was more than likely just like a hired hand, or even worse, a slave. He was not a samurai in real life, and in the game, they've made him a samurai.
Right, yeah.
And Japanese people were upset about this, not just like nerds, not just like weebs, but like actually Japan, for the most part, was not having that. Because that's rewriting their history.
Yeah. So I'm not interested in that game.
Which, to be fair, to play devil's advocate, every Assassin's Creed game changes history. Every Assassin's Creed game changes famous historical characters to be different than they were. So it's not actually new. But it is clearly to put some woke in. So that's why people are up in arms. That, of course, you could change a historical character. Look, Leonardo da Vinci or whatever in like Assassin's Creed 2 wasn't actually making these inventions for some assassin. That's not a real thing that happened. It's for the game. But you're not fundamentally changing his character in a way that's offensive either. That's what they're doing now, and they're getting the backlash. And I hope that it doesn't do well. If you're don't play the new Assassin's Creed game. It's such a waste of fucking money anyway. Because you know why? If you really must play it, you could probably get it for $1 in 6 months.
Yeah. Probably.
I mean, some of the changes they made in Assassin's Creed games to characters is what actually made them cool, like Ben Franklin in Assassin's Creed thing. But this isn't that, you know? It's not like, oh, we just didn't know. They're just like, no, he was a samurai. Well, that would be like a matter of record, dumbass.
Yeah. Well, I
don't saying he was a police officer. Okay, then what was his badge number? Because that's what samurai were. It's a recorded thing. If you're a samurai, it would be recorded. Now, you could argue he's a Ronin, which is a samurai that's not actually a samurai, right? It's a swordsman that's not officially recognized as samurai, but they're not saying that. They're saying he's a samurai.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like stolen valor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know, a lot of these games, a lot of these woke properties, like they're not all that interested even in like historical accuracy, so it doesn't really surprise me even.
Yeah, but then when they mixed the most blatant woke, because they've done this isn't the first woke Assassin's Creed game. Definitely the Viking one.
Oh yeah.
Because the main, like, I was told specifically that by picking the male character, I was non-canon. That's what it tells you that in the game, that the male character isn't real. Only the female character is. So you can play the male character, and it is different. But they're telling you this isn't. You're not supposed to be a male. You're supposed. And by the way, the same thing with the Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well. Exact same thing. You were supposed to be the woman character. If you chose the male character, it tells you made the wrong choice. So much for giving gamers a choice, right?
That's wow.
Also it allows for all kinds of like degenerate sexual stuff, which is actually new to Assassin's Creed as of these last couple of games, because they did, if you remember, Sam, didn't used to be RPGs like that. What is it with RPGs and because I don't like this part of them, so I don't understand. Maybe you guys could even help me out. Why do people like the fake ass, stupid, corny romance shit in those? Is it like, do you not have porn?
The people who get like heavily invested.
Do you romance characters in an RPG, Sam?
I do, just to see if it like affects the story outcome on occasion.
Okay, so you romance all of them. You don't just pick one like because you like them.
Right. I just Well, Morthis can tell you. I romanced both of the female companions just to see what would happen. So.
Yeah, I just like, even The Witcher does. I don't particularly think it's well done. I think that sex in RPGs is hilariously bad. Baldur's Gate 3, it's hilariously bad, and it's the last thing I want in those games.
I'm
not interested in that, and I've turned away from RPGs over the years because they all seemingly need to have this now.
Yeah, it is a weird. It is a weird game, not even a gameplay mechanic that they have, but like a weird thing that takes you out of the story. So
I mean, for some people, it seems that's the whole story, but I just don't. Look, I had been for years the one guy shouting how great Baldur's Gate was. Baldur's Gate 3 is a travesty. Because it's all about sex.
Yeah, you're not the one who feels that way. Who I've talked to. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, so I played Baldur's Gate 2 like years ago. But yeah, like a lot of the old school players don't like Baldur's Gate 3 at all. So shout out to Apex for jumping in. So he's in chat too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just like they had like orgies and sex with bears and all these weird kinky things, and I'm not into it, man. I don't understand. I don't even like frankly, Sam, I'm not a story in video games guy. I think most of them cheapen the medium.
that's fair.
Because they don't tell the story through gameplay at all. If you want a good story in a video game, go play the best story-based game. It's called Brothers: Tale of Two Sons. You know why? That's the best story-based video game of all time, Sam? Because it tells the story through fucking gameplay. Not through cutscenes talking at you, not through multiple choice dialogues. They never give you... let's be real. They never give you what you really want to say.
Yeah.
I in Brothers, I try not to spoil it, but the emotional impact of that game will hit you so hard, and there's not one word of dialogue, spoken or written. But it might make you cry. It might make you cry, but it doesn't have one word. Play Brothers: Tale of Two Sons. That's how fucking storytelling in gaming should work.
I'll definitely check it out because I am intrigued.
I could give you the short version. At least the setup, right? It's two brothers. Their father is sick. You can tell because he's laying on a bed, clearly unconscious, and there's a doctor standing next to him going. And then the kids in a book see a flower that could potentially heal their father. And so the two brothers set off on an adventure to go get this flower, and the left stick controls one brother and the right stick controls the other brother. And everything is done through gameplay interactions. There is no, we're going to talk for 10 minutes cutscene. It's you're playing the game. That to me is how you should tell a story in a game. I'll take Doom any day over Mass Effect. And I don't mean Doom 2016. I mean Doom 1993. Here's the story, Sam. You ready for this? There's demons. Here's a shotgun. Kill them.
Yeah,
that's my kind of story.
I've played the original Doom, and yeah,
that's the story that I can get into, right?
Well,
because now all the agency is on me.
Yeah. Yes,
I've been playing Doom a lot lately. They just did the remaster, and it's pretty good. Though they could have used GZ Doom as the base of it, and they didn't, and that kind of sucks because I can't use Brutal Doom on it, but it's good. And if you had Doom, by the way, if you had Doom in your Steam library or something, they upgraded it for free. Check it out. The original Doom, it adds a bunch of new episodes and shit. I don't know. What do you need these modern fucking games for, you guys? Come on. Do you really need Monkey Dark Souls, or could you just play Doom? I guess everybody else is weird, and I'm normal. That's what
you're the normal one, and everyone else is retarded. Well, it's just like me with movies. Like, rather than complain, like, all these people are complaining like how bad the Crow remake is, and I'm like,
Apex says, that's not true. You're a soldier on Mars. That's not actually told to you until you beat the first episode. The story doesn't tell you anything at the beginning of Doom. It's only after you beat the first episode that you get any story at all.
Yeah.
So he's right and I'm right too. We're both right.
Yeah, Chibi just called you a nerd, and Apex is.
That's true.
Yeah, listen, we've never denied that we're nerds. So,
I thought nerd wasn't even a bad thing anymore.
No,
it still is though, right? Chicks are like, no, geek is in, and then they reject all the geeks.
Yeah, that's.
But then a lot of the geeks also need to learn social skills, so it's a back and forth.
Yeah. I mean that was something I had to learn, when I was younger. But
how to be a geek or how to talk to girls?
How to talk to girls.
Oh, the geek thing came naturally.
Yeah.
Okay. Me too. Actually though, I didn't really have to work on talking to girls. That one's always been like, I give advice about that, but that was not my experience. I did have the experience of being a big weirdo that got rejected sometimes, but it wasn't like I was afraid to talk to girls like some of these guys are. That's why my advice is, hey, go talk to some girls and you'll see it's not so scary.
Yeah. Well, and that's basically what I just did on my own. It wasn't I didn't know how to. It was just that I was shy, and then once I actually stopped being shy, it was like, oh, okay, this isn't bad. This isn't bad at all.
I'm super shy, as you can tell.
Yeah, shy is good. Shy is actually good in most cases with females. What matters is confidence. You can be shy, you know what I mean, and stumble on your words and fumble your phone as you're trying to put her number. What, you know what I mean? But as long as you confidence is what matters for the most part.
Respect yourself, I think, is like the first thing, because if you
100%.
If you don't have standards or respect, and by the way, welcome Apex. I love how you jumped right in.
Yes,
there.
Welcome, sir.
Right on the fucking money. But like,
hi, boys.
If you don't respect yourself, you can't really expect women to respect you either. And so I think that
or anybody else for that matter.
Or anybody.
That's a fundamental fact that a lot of people struggle with is, a lot of us have depression and, various forms of self-loathing and, all sorts of hangups and shit. But the whole fake it till you make it thing is real in a lot of ways, not just in jobs that you're not qualified for, but, as long as you're honest with yourself and do things with some level of integrity, like, you can fumble and you can look like an idiot and you can sound dumb. But as long as they can pick up on whether or not, you know what I mean? If you care about you enough that you, self-respect. I mean, I'm just reiterating the same shit you just said, Max, but it's more important than people think. Well, and Joe added in there, he said, in chat said, make them laugh. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's been something that's been helpful to me in more recent years. So
my wife and I are constantly joking and laughing to this day.
That's the best way to be, man. That's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can hear it when we're on shows together and whatever.
It's great when you guys go back and forth next.
Yeah, we just always we're always busting on each other, and nobody takes it personal. We just have fun, and that's the thing. My biggest advice to young men is, if you meet a woman, what you got to ask yourself is, in 10 years, if we were just alone in our place together and it was just us,
would we be happy?
would I be happy if, besides the fucking time when we're fucking, right? That's important. It's those times in between. If you're not actually friends, it's not going to work.
That is an understatement if I've ever heard one. And people don't really, I mean, I shouldn't say people, but I've known so many in my life that that concept is completely foreign. Even, people my age, even some younger people, where it's like, well, the wife won't let me do this, or the wife won't let me do that. It's like, well, have you ever invited her with you to do that? Well, why would I do that? It's like, well, hold on. You don't want to spend time with your wife outside of,
fucking
all the shit you have, of the fucking, and even beyond that, like kids and paying bills and the time you have to be around.
If I found a woman that was into my hobbies, then let's fucking go.
You know what though? That's something that a lot of guys think, like, oh, I should find a girl into my hobbies, but it actually doesn't matter.
No,
me and my wife have very little in common in that regard.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
She likes to watch movies. She likes pop music. I fucking hate movies, and I listen to like metal and rap, like on and on. We are so very different in the things that we enjoy doing in our hobbies. Mm-hmm. But we still do have fun when we're together, even if we're doing our own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's like another fundamental. You can have most of, if not all of, the same interests, but there is something to be said about space. You want to have time to miss somebody. But I envy the people that literally want to spend every waking moment around.
You don't want to have all the same hobbies, but you share at least a couple.
I mean,
we do have our space, right? It's not that we're always together, but we're together a lot. Like a lot of times, it's funny, in doing a couple of the other podcasts, people were like taken aback that my wife is like always sitting next to me.
Yeah.
In my office. And it's like, well, yeah, she hangs out down here all the time. Like we hang out. We literally just hang out together. She's on her computer. I'm playing my game. We're not doing the same thing, but we like being around each other.
You're around each other. Yeah, no, that's huge.
Yeah.
There's so many levels to it too, because, I mean, in my experience, and another thing that I find so many people, men and women, but I guess in my experience, mostly men, they don't even consider the idea that they could learn or find something that they never knew they loved, that someone else has a hobby, you know what I mean? And vice versa. My ex that I spent, 10 years with, she was a fucking Chicago Bears fan. She watched every game. She didn't really like football that much, but it was like a thing, it was just like, you're up in Northwest Indiana, close enough to Chicago.
Yeah. She grew up in that environment. I mean, if you were around here, you would watch the Patriots game. Same deal.
Yeah, of course. And when we first got together, she's like, oh, I mean, she was wearing fucking Chicago Bears sweatpants with a 80s style side pony, and I almost fell over, and I fell in love right there. But when we started hanging out, she was like, do you like sports and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, the only sport I care to watch at that point, and even still, is hockey, and a little bit of UFC, but mostly hockey. And she was like, I don't know anything about hockey. So we started watching the Blackhawks games when they would come on, and she had no idea what was happening, but she was interested. She wanted to learn. So I'm explaining offsides. I'm explaining, penalty shots and players and their positions.
It was wise to pick her hometown team too. As much as the Bruins fan in me was like, the Blackhawk.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you know what? And honestly, the peak of our relationship, we unfortunately, oh no, that was the Flyers, not the Bruins. But no, that was like right at the peak of the Hawks dynasty. And to be fair, I was born and raised in Texas, but my dad grew up in Chicago. Most of his family, so I had a ton of like Chicago sports around me, even in Texas. Yeah.
I mean, there's some of that around here too.
I think I want to say his name was Belfort, like some legendary goalie. Is it Belfort
Vito?
Or is it Vito Belfort? I don't know if it's Belfort. It's one of the. Yeah, one of the. one of the 90s goalies for the Blackhawks that was like just a legend. You know, I remember that name. I just remember it being surrounded. It surrounded me as a kid. But anyway, the point that I was trying to make
sounds familiar because I was into hockey too growing up.
Same. Yeah, I know it's Belfort. I'm pretty sure it's Vito.
Yeah. I'm just not sure if I'm just thinking of a completely different sports athlete's name that ends up being.
Hey, we remember weird shit from being kids and jumble it all up, so it's whatever.
Yeah, the point though that I was trying to make is some of the best time her and I had together were watching those games at first in the early days, and then she became such a fan. I went to more games with her, like went to fucking United Center. And had we took her daughters a couple times too. I mean, it was a whole thing, and we had the most fun. I learned more about hockey just by her being interested than I did beforehand. You know what I mean? I got more into players and trading, and it became
she's gonna have questions that, as just a casual observer, you might not even have ever thought of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, the whole point is you will almost certainly be surprised if you open yourself up to people to not only be honest about what you enjoy and what you think and feel, but also be open to the idea that you don't have everything that you could possibly love at your fingertips. There's things you've avoided because for various biases or whatever. But this girl or this guy that has your interest in various other reasons really likes a certain type of music or a certain sport or a certain thing. You know, it's so often I see people just shut that fucking door and they're like, no, I'm not spent. Why would I hang out with a girl that fucking, is a VTuber or watches, you know what I mean? Or just some whatever random innately cringe thing that people would think.
Clarification, apparently his first name was Ed.
Ed Belfort.
Eddie Belfort, that's what I thought I said. And he was the goalie for the Blackhawks in the 90s?
Yeah,
same guy?
Yep.
I know it was Belfort.
Yeah.
See, I knew it was right.
I'm thinking of we're all fucking far off.
Vito Belfort sounds like
Vito.
To be fair,
a UFC fighter.
To be fair, he didn't play on the Bruins, so I don't know.
Right. Well, why would you know, right?
Or the Red Wings. If he played on the Red Wings, that'd be different.
I mainly followed Gretzky back in the day, so.
You followed who? I'm sorry.
I can't even shit on the
Wayne Gretzky
because they're Blackhawks are like original 6'2", so it's fine.
Yeah, they really are, and they're the only one that haven't fucking completely crumbled under the woke mob and still have that fucking chief as their logo. The best, honestly, I've thought for the longest time that it's the coolest fucking sports logo. I never thought about it as racist. He looks fucking cool. The color, the contrast and shit. I love it. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's specific to the people from that area rather than just being a generalized the Indians or something. It's actually the tribe that was there.
That's true. Go ahead, Sammy. What were you saying?
Well, yeah, and that's the whole thing too. Is like nobody ever thinks of like no sports fan I know ever sees like the Blackhawks logo and thinks like race, ism or something like that. They think, wow, that's really, that's a badass fucking warrior right there.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you know anything about Chicago people, if you changed it, they won't be happy.
No.
Yeah.
You couldn't even float that idea in the city of, especially now, because the Blackhawks are bigger now than even fucking in the 90s, 80s.
They've dipped a little bit, but for sure their popularity fucking exploded in the 2010s when the Taves Kane crew started to build. And I mean they won 3 out of 4 years, I think. They were crushed, man. They were really good and really fun to watch. Yeah, hockey's so awesome. I really wish I grew up in an area that hockey was a thing. I didn't even see a fucking frozen pond until I was like 25 years old, So
yeah, me and my best friend grew up playing hockey, so it's like the exact opposite. Like that's what we did. He ended up getting a contract with the minor league Bruins, but 9/11 happened our senior year, and he signed up for the military instead. He's actually now he's a green beret drill sergeant at like a special ops whatever. So he made it his career, but yeah, we were practicing to be pro hockey since I was fucking like 5 years old. I played hockey every day before school, after school, on rollerblades until we could get to the fucking rink. Then we're on fucking skates. Like hockey was life up here.
Yeah, I never watched like pro hockey growing up, at least not in person, because like it can be hard to follow in person. But the one thing I did watch a lot of was college hockey, and DU in Denver like had a really good hockey team for like a number of years. Now the Avalanche recently have done pretty well too with like getting the Stanley Cup. But yeah, college hockey is really fun to watch. And a lot of college sports just in general are.
That's a thing that's like kind of unique to New England that I can talk about for a second. We have what's called the Beanpot tournament, which is all the local hockey oriented colleges play a tournament game, and they play it on NESN, which is the New England Sports Network. And I'll tell you, if you want to watch some good, solid, fundamental, maybe not as hard hitting because they're college, but if you want to watch some really good hockey, it's not even Division I necessarily, but this tournament is always a fucking blast. If you're in New England, it's worth checking out the Beanpot. And there's not all the wokeness and all the corporate shit and all the fucking sponsors smeared everywhere. It's a lot more fun to watch.
Well, that's the thing too, is like, a lot of people complain at like wokeism in sports, and that might be the case in like the NFL and stuff, but there are other places where you can go to watch sports that might not be as well like commercial, but like you can still
back to the what is it? The interests, right? I actually have an anecdote about that, Sam. He was talking about being introduced to something new by your partner. Did you know that until 3 years ago, my wife had never been camping the way we go camping now and thought she was going to hate it. And I had to basically beg her to go. And now she loves it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Although I imagine that, what she's dealing with now as a result of the camping trip. I imagine that was a little hard to deal with that in the aftermath.
Yeah, but she still wants to go next year. It's just going to be, pay attention to, whatever, like take precautions. But yeah, she's not dissuaded at all.
See, that's what I mean. I fucking love that. I presume anybody that I've ever met that doesn't like camping, they fucking hate it. And the only reasons they have are very circumstantial, and they're usually pretty tiny. Like, I fucking hate bugs, or you know what I mean, or it's shit like that. And the number of times I have convinced people to actually go is one, and it's also the same X I was just talking about with hockey. It's so important for both sides to try. To not be so fucking rigid, to think I know all the things that I like and you're not going to teach me anything. That's a real problem. I think on both sides.
Or in the converse, the expectation that they should be into all your shit.
Mm-hmm,
right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing I run into with young guys is they're like, it's always something different, but it'll be like, well, I want a girl that has my politics. Well, let me give you some advice on that one. If a girl is extremely political when she's young, that is a red flag.
You are in for a nightmare, friend.
Yeah. You want a girl that's not political. Like she's just like, I'm not into it. You don't want a girl that's already got strong political beliefs, because that is absolutely a red flag.
And I can attest to that firsthand, because like the last serious girlfriend I had, she was a Republican, but she was one of the never Trumpers, and that was like as much as I hate to say, like that was such, that was such a death knell. And it wasn't necessarily even because like I disliked, nothing changed for me as far as like my attitude towards her, but she just had this perception that like Trump was some misogynist, and she and then she couldn't understand why I would support that, and ultimately it was just a communication breakdown is what happened.
Yeah, I mean, if you the thing is, if you do find one with your politics, it's still a red flag. It's still a massive red flag for a girl that's like super into politics that's not married is unusual.
Yeah, and to be fair, for most women, if you're going to start grilling them on their politics on your first handful of dates or even within the first year or two, that's a red flag for her too, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, and I found that out the hard way when I was, 20, 21.
Doesn't mean
anything that might be the reddest flag for most of them.
Yeah, for sure. And it doesn't mean you can't like have conversations about political topics.
Right.
But, I mean, because the internet is so it's so deeply rooted in so many people's brains. And Sammy, I imagine this is part of like what happened in the situation you were just referring to, is it's just kind of been so much of your life that you don't even really, it's maybe it's not on the forefront of your mind to talk about other things. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Well,
yeah.
Right. Well, that was the other big issue too. It part of it wasn't really been my fault necessarily. It's like if you, I would always get the, well, what do you do type thing, and because I used to literally be part of the college Republicans and and work for them in a sense, like I obviously wasn't going to lie about what I did, so I was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, and that's why, like, I actually shared this with a few of my author friends. Like the fact I'm an author now has within the last few years has actually like really helped me, because even if the woman I'm dating doesn't really read, like an author to anyone just sounds like automatically interesting, no matter like what genre you write.
It is definitely a good occupation title, unless it's fake, like certain people we know. But like if you actually are a published author, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
chicks dig that.
So.
It means that you're probably at least somewhat smart, right? But yeah, again, it's like I let's take politics out of it. I've met guys that'll be like, I want a girl that will play this esoteric Minecraft mod with me all day. And I'm like, why? Why would you want that? Wouldn't you want to expand? But that's a thing too. Apex was just hitting on this. The internet thing where people get so locked into their own little bubble of things, that they're afraid of anything outside of it, to the point of ruining opportunities for themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of young gamers get that mindset. It's like, I want a chick that plays games. Now, some of you might think, oh, well, Max, your wife's a game. No, she's not. She's not a gamer at all. She has one game. It's called The Sims. That doesn't make her a gamer.
Yeah, no, I can attest to that as someone who loves The Sims, the original Sims at least. So
she's expanded out, especially since I get the Steam Deck, where she'll play a couple of games, but she's not a gamer, right? And that's my primary, form of entertainment. Again, also music. She and I have such different tastes in 99% of music. Although we both enjoy like the underground, hip hop stuff and been to a lot of concerts together. So we found our middle ground there. I introduced her to that shit. took her to concerts. She had a blast. You know, she got to meet ICP. She's got cool stories about that. I'm sure she'll tell them on her show sometime. I'm not going to tell her stories because I tell enough of mine on here. But either way, she found this whole world that she didn't know existed.
I have to ask real quick. Apex, is that a dolphin on your phone, or I keep hearing in the background?
And you can actually. I'm sorry, I'll mute it. No, that's my. I had to recently change both my ringtone and my text message notification because they've been the same for like 4 years. But as a manager and a key holder of the place I work, I'm on the list for alarm calls. So like anytime the alarm goes off.
Oh, right.
I have to answer the phone and be like, oh, fuck, yeah, call the cops. I'll be right there. Or, yeah, no, that's just the cat that literally sets the alarm off, 4 nights a week. But
so you need a special ringtone.
I just needed to change it because like my brain didn't hear it anymore. And same with the text messages because like for whatever reason, the only person above me in my store doesn't like to call me. He likes to text me when important shit's going on. But I will mute that because I didn't know you could hear it. I'm sorry.
I didn't notice.
It's a sample from an NF song. I can't even remember the name of it, but yeah, it's like a woman screaming, but it's like faded in and out. So it's like really high pitched and short. But yeah, no, I guess I could see it sounding like a dolphin. I did want to say though, going back to what touching back on the same thing we were just have been talking about, is that it is important to adjust your expectations, and that's kind of the point of the whole thing. But you can put yourself so far into it and then not find yourself at a point where you're doing all the giving or you're doing all the compromising. And you're going to concerts of things you don't like, and you're going to things that you don't care about. And, if you want to go to anything you want to do, be it a concert or a comedy show or whatever, you go do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you have two options in that moment. You can go, fuck yeah, and go. Or you could be upset about the fact that you've tried and found a few things within their interests that you didn't like to try and enjoy with them, and they don't reciprocate back, which you can't expect it all to work. You know what I mean?
But and then there's the flip side of I'll go to concerts that she has no interest in, and she's fine with that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how we handle that. If she wants to go see a boy band from when she was a kid is doing a reunion or something, that'd be fine. And then if I want to go see fucking Amon Amarth, that's fine. She doesn't want to go see Amon Amarth. The Viking shit, not really her fucking jam. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I was once again speaking about myself and the most recent relationship and most consequential of my life. But yeah, I got all in my feels eventually because I got to the point where like I didn't really want to go. We had so many things to do. It's important, grown up fucking life shit. She had her 2 daughters, cheerleading and soccer and both jobs and et cetera, et cetera. We made time for the hockey games, but it's like, so I'd go with you to your country concerts and wherever else, but it's like, you can't under no circumstances would even consider coming to the Rammstein show that came. Or like just watch this. Like, you don't understand how cool it could be. Like, you may not like the music, you don't have to, but just the experience. No, kind of thing. It's like I don't like that. You'll end
a lot of people do seem to be like afraid of experience. I find, particularly in the internet age, and that's why I get treated real weird. But you're my age. Like, we used to do things before there was internet.
All the time,
actually. Tell you people, like, we used to go outside, like, as a matter of course.
That's how you found a lot of your interests. It was like, holy shit, there were a bunch of people riding skateboards in the neighborhood, and you like, oh fuck, that looks cool. And then you go outside, you're like, hey, what's your name? Stay out.
You couldn't make friends if you didn't.
No, of course, no. I mean, the only other option was at school. And then most of the time, everybody lived so fucking far away that you relied on one of your parents to be cool enough to be like, okay, I don't know them. I don't know this kid, but you seem to like him. So sure, let's go. Which, you know, does happen. It did happen for sure. But
that happened with me. The other thing I've realized too is that like, the one thing that I find really weird is in this age of the internet, like the whole commoditization of friends and like having friends. Like I have two friends who I've known. One of them I've known since kindergarten, and one of them I've known since like 6th grade or so. So like I have two, best friends, and I mentioned that to people, and they're like, "You only have two best friends? That's really sad." And I'm like, "What do you mean? That's awesome." And they're like, "Well, you only have two though." And I'm like,
one, there's a definition of the word best.
Yeah.
That would exclude more than one. Two, I mean, really, you only really need one good friend, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah,
I only have one good friend. I've known him for like 22 years. Most of the other good friends have died. You know what I mean? Which tends to happen as you get older, unfortunately.
Rest in
especially
peace.
when
I got the same rap sheet. You know, a lot of my friends were from fucking inner city Detroit, and they're either in jail or dead.
Right. Yeah.
Sucks, but such is life.
I mean, it's such
and jail for a lot of them might as well be dead because it's hard to even find them when they get out. You know, or
yeah, of course, and they're so different. Everything's so much different for them, and typically they don't want to engage with people they used to because that associates.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there, but like my oldest friend in the world, he's got 2 children with a girl we both went to school with. I actually dated her long before they got together. You know what I mean? Like I dated her in high school. They've got their beautiful daughter and a beautiful son. He works for an oil company that his family owns.
Awesome.
Right? He's in like some sort of office position. He makes good money. I don't know exactly what he makes, but it's good. They do not own the house they live in. They only rent, which is probably the only thing that's like even like a standout. But we talk constantly. When we do talk, the argument or the conversation is always how he wants my life. He wants to be a fucking degenerate drug addict and alone and, just free to fuck off. And of course he loves his kids and he doesn't necessarily regret it. But in his deepest, darkest moments, he's like, I can't do this, man. I'm a fucking junkie. And
it's the fun. I could relate so much to why he would feel that way though, because sometimes when shit's hard, and you look at somebody else, like he probably looks at you as having freedom he doesn't have.
Yeah, and I look at him as having the things I would literally like kill and bury people secretly for, at least one. But I mean, it's just weird. It's weird getting old, man.
No, I actually, it's funny you mentioned that specific thing at Apex, because I actually had someone recently tell me that like they would love to be in my position, and I'm like, wait, what do you mean? And this was like an able-bodied person too, and I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, dude, you're like sort of famous, and you interview all these people on your show, and
I thought you meant the wheelchair, and I was like, that seems insane.
Well, yeah, that's literally why I had to ask them what they meant, because like I had the same thing. Like right. I was like, was like, yeah, I thought they meant the wheelchair
Especially
too.
when you said it was an able-bodied person. I'm like, and they want to switch places with you.
That's
But you know what? They got a point. You know, you do have fun with this stuff. It is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I have fun, and I'm like, but I like mentioned them. I'm like, well, you know, some days like I wish I could trade places with you, you know, just to like, you know,
Yeah,
like,
surely
able
that's
to,
a
like,
common.
walk
Yeah.
upright, you know, so like yeah, they might perceive me as I'm like a crueler life, and you know, I guess in some ways like I would perceive their life as, you know, perhaps being better, and in some ways it's all a matter of perspective.
Well,
So
100%, yeah.
when I said I understand where Apex's friend is coming from, it's not even like I would be like, oh, I'd switch with like a friend I know. I'd be like, man, I remember those days where I had no responsibilities at all.
Sure.
yeah,
You know?
Yeah, it's
And
just the
that
loss.
was
It's the
dope.
loss of freedom. Yeah, it's inevitable. I mean, no matter what you do, you're gonna look back on things that you don't have anymore. I mean, I think it's just kind of natural. And I may be putting.
But the
I don't
trade
know
was
how-
worth it. That's the
Of
thing. The
course.
trade was worth
Of-
it. It's just sometimes you're like, damn, I used to be able to play like I used to play degenerate levels of World of Warcraft. Well, you can't do that if you have a kid. Well, you can, but you'd be a bad parent.
yeah, yeah. You can't stay up till 4 a.m. playing games.
Yeah.
Or when I was even younger, when I'm working at all these concerts, I'm working a concert every fucking night, going out fucking drinking and just being a fucking animal, right? Because I'm 20, 21. And yeah, it'd be nice that if I had that level of freedom right now, but honestly, I would probably take that night to sleep in instead because I'm old and boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the modern world has enabled the ability to not grow up, to flourish in such a to such a vast degree, like vast and nuanced degree. You know what I mean? Like the internet age, and the convenience. You know, we're all eating fucking poison for the most part, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't remember learning anything important in school. You know, I did all the school. You know what I mean?
Well, I've always been a big advocate on they don't teach you how to balance a checkbook. They don't teach you how to fucking do your taxes.
I was literally just about to say that. I didn't learn how to fuck. I'm literally dealing with tax shit right now. It's costing me a lot of money. I'm just throwing fucking money at it.
Would that not be the most valuable class for a high school student? Teach you how to do your taxes? I think it would.
I do remember them at some point in my childhood schooling. I definitely saw how to write a check. I remember seeing like on a somewhere somehow rather. It was like a part of something, but it's just an image on, you know, the little projector that they had. They put the little clear paper and, you know, projected onto this thing. So yeah, they're like routing, you know, whatever. I just have an image of. Granted,
I said balancing a checkbook, and most people today don't even do that. They don't write things down. They just online banking.
Online. Yeah, of course.
Actually, more often I find, especially younger people, is they'll just, when they go to an ATM, check their balance. And I'm like, you know, that's usually not the best idea, because if you have something pending, it might not tell you the full story.
It's not gonna show. Exactly. Fucking idiot. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of that's common sense. You can figure that out if you pay attention. But honestly, in that regard, I think most people do at this point. The economy, everybody's so fucked for the last. I mean, people that weren't fucked, you know, before, you know, 2020 have been fucked. And I mean, I feel like more people are fucked in this country now financially than maybe ever.
It's certainly in our lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is certainly, I mean, 2008 was rough, but this is, at the very least in our adult lifetime, it has never been this bad.
No, definitely not. And I mean, the value of $1 anytime in the past, like I feel like, well, when did we get rid of the gold standards? That was like 60. Nixon did that, right?
Yeah, that was 71 or 72.
Right. Okay. So yeah, prior to that, I mean, money
73.
still,
Sorry, 73.
money still had value. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of things worth money in this big, beautiful country we live in. You know, services to be, you know, businesses to be made, services to offer, shit like that. I mean, it's not that there aren't opportunities, but they're so different than it's not just hard work anymore. You need to know how to program. You need to know how to edit videos. You need to know how to do this. My same friend I was just talking about was complaining to me that he doesn't have extra money. And I didn't bother asking him what he makes, but I asked him, do your kids have food? They have I didn't even ask. I know they have food. I know they have a house, they have a roof over their head. They have a big, wonderful family around them that they can lean on when they get older, that will provide for them in a case of an emergency. What do you think you're missing? He's like, well, like vacations and shit, man. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fair. But what do you think?
I kind of felt the same way. And that's why I did camping as a vacation, because it's actually really cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and that's what. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, yeah, we're not going to be going to like Catalina anytime soon, but my son still goes on vacation. That's what he thinks of it as. And it costs me like, I don't know, like $300 or whatever.
Yeah. And that's what I tried to, like a couple of points I tried to make clear to him is there's a fuck ton of money to be made on the internet. If you just find a thing that you actually care about and you're just honest, whether you're making YouTube videos, or he likes to write. He has a couple of like stories that he's been talking about. And he's like, oh, I haven't written in a long time. I'm like, bro, write, fire it off, fucking self-publish it, put it out there for 99 cents. Just give it to the fucking internet. And
it worked for Sam.
Right. Keep writing. Just keep writing. You know what I mean? It's what he likes to do. So keep doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that in specific with me writing, it is interesting that you bring that up. I feel like the thing that people don't understand, right, is people think that if you start a podcast, specifically in this instance, people now think that if they post an episode, if they post like a couple episodes, that they're going to become Joe Rogan overnight. And when they don't, they get disappointed and they stop. Because
that's the Foxman effect. I mean, he's the most exaggerated example of this. He'll put up 100 videos on a channel, but it's the same 100 that he keeps rotating on new channels. And the moment it doesn't blow up, he just deletes the fucking channel, which is crazy to me because sustained growth works. But I don't know. He just a lot of these people, they think, hey, I'm so talented. That's what it is I'm so talented, and maybe you are, but there's a lot of other people that are too.
I think it's talent. I think talent certainly does have something to do with it, but I think persistence has a lot more to do with. Definitely in my case, with
consistency for sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Well, persistence and then consistency as well. I mean, that's been a huge advantage in my case. And even when I wasn't publishing books, like because I was busy with college, like I was still writing, like, you know, short story ideas like in my free time. So also shout out to Jed and Kay Revenwolf in chat. I see them there.
Yeah. Actually,
Revenwolfs. Is it Reven or Raven? It's Reven.
Revenwolf, like the.
Reven.
I wanted to go back because both him, he said, and Chibi said something in regards to the banking stuff. He said, I didn't learn how to do a checkbook until I was a teenager. And Chibi said, I had to learn as an adult how to do banking and check. That's exactly what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's
well,
like,
and
you're kind of just expected to figure it out unless you have parents that taught you that kind of thing, which I didn't.
Well, and I hate to say this, but I kind of get the feeling that like a lot of teachers now don't even know how to do that. Like,
definitely not.
Like, even if there is a demand for that, like
There's so many kids nowadays that don't even know how to write cursive. It's like, okay, how, what?
Well, it's not
Yeah.
that. To be fair, that's not been part of the curriculum in about 10 years.
When I was
not required to teach or to learn anymore cursive.
When I was a kid, even in elementary school, which, you know, compared to you guys wasn't long ago, it was still a requirement that I can sign my name in cursive. Like, that's why when I autograph books, I autograph my books in cursive. And someone recently said, like, wow, you know how to write your name in cursive? And I'm like, yeah. So
Kay said, my parents stopped raising me at 14 and fucked off, dropped me off at my grandparents' door and left them to raise me and my siblings. Yeah, I can relate a lot to that, actually. To having to teach yourself. I left home the first time at 16, and my senior year in high school, I actually lived in my car behind the gas station. And so I would go to school. I worked at the gas station, and they would just let me park my car and sleep there because they knew my situation. So I graduated homeless.
Yeah, Max literally graduated from the school of hard knocks. So
yeah. I mean, it taught me a lot. It taught me about it. I had to learn how to do a checkbook overnight, right? Because I had a job, you know, and I had a car and all these expenses. I might not have had a rent or a place to live, but I needed to learn how to take care of my finances real fucking quick.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes like that's the best teaching, is like learning through adversity. That you know, that is one of the things that, like,
one of the best ways to learn, at least for me.
That is one of the things, like, why I got back into writing, was I was kind of like, you know, why I do need some income a little bit, and I did freelance writing. That's what I do professionally, but I was kind of like, what do I have to lose? And so, yeah, like, having the books has been, you know, a good, I guess that is my bonus, you know.
Chat's my people tonight. So Chibi says, my mom was a single mom, always working, so she didn't have time to teach everything. I mean, that's another case. And this is why I say these kind of things should be taught at school. They should be mandatory, because yes, not all parents are going to have the time. Why do we have public schools if they're not going to teach important shit?
Yeah.
Right.
Look, then Kay, just to follow up, Kay Revan said, then my mom died when I was 17. I miss her every day. You know, my condolences.
Man, sorry. Yeah.
You know, that's rough. So you were on your own at 14. That's tough. And then Jed said, I had to go through the school of hard knocks too. I was a latchkey kid and I had to learn a lot of things on my own. So yeah, I think that the independent learning thing might have somehow let us all here, you know.
No, look, I have to. I have to throw a wrench into that a little bit, at least in a metaphorical sense, because I was cursed with the man that adopted me when I was 2. He owned his own business. He worked on refrigeration units, mostly on trucks, you know, the the freezers that carry frozen food around and shit. But he also did he did Baylor University's fucking medical wing. He rebuilt their fucking huge walk-in cooler. I remember I used to go with him to work sometimes. But anyway, in the 90s and in early 2000s, we were as upper middle class can get. He made a fuckload of money. We didn't see a whole lot of that. He was very old school and very country. You know what I mean? He didn't spoil us necessarily. But when my mom left, in came a woman that was as much older than me as she was younger than him. She was like 22 when she came into the house. He was like 35 and I was 12, you know what I mean? Something like that. And she was like the textbook evil stepmother. So she, instead of teaching you things, it was lording over you And so like we didn't want for much of anything. He had a boat. We owned a spot on a deer lease, 45 minutes away. Most of the winter months we were there. And then weekends we were out on the boat tubing and shit, like, stuff like that. So it was fairly lavish. Not lavish, but it was fun. We had a lot of cool stuff and we did a lot of cool things. But within that, again, was this evil stepmother. My little sister died when she was 2 on Mother's Day, and my mom left, and she, I not trying to make it about this, but my adopted father ran her over in the driveway on accident. She got out of the house at 2 years old and got squished. She saw Dad's truck coming home. But anyway, so after Mom gone, and me and 4 other siblings, biggest brother bailed. He had his own biological father. He went and did his own thing until, as you guys may remember, he fucking killed himself like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. But so I became the big brother, and I didn't care about a lot of things, the whole point. I didn't mean to,
understandable, by the way.
I didn't mean to spell all that out that way. I was just trying to say, like, you can have all of the things materially that you could want, but without the spiritual, without the actual love and care for what you think and how you're going to grow up. And that can go both ways, man. Like, you can have nothing and raise the best fucking kids that anybody that they meet have ever met. It's you. You instill most of that. Of course, they're sponges, and they soak a lot of that shit.
I take that so fucking seriously because, I know what you mean. You're like, I didn't mean to lay all that out there. I have the same problem. I'm like, yeah, my mom was like super abusive. It's fine.
I just talk too much. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. It's like, because it's stuff that you've already like, it's just history, and to other people it gets a little wild. So I totally understand that. It's not like you're trying to, you're making a point. But it's rough out there if you don't, because I didn't have supportive parents. I had abusive parents who hated. My mother would tell me that she wished she had an abortion all the time, especially on Mother's Day. That's her favorite time to say it.
Ooh.
And you don't have that. And so and also the violence, like, she was extremely violent. Not that I would like to get into, but like to the level of a Lifetime original movie or something, like really bad. And so I didn't feel that parental guidance or love or support. And it really affected me. And so from the moment I found out she was pregnant, I vowed to do the opposite. We don't believe in spanking. It's never actually come up. Like, he's never done anything where that would even be on the table, but we wouldn't anyway. And I just make a point of like telling him that I'm proud of him when he does something good. Correcting him when he does something obviously inappropriate, right? That's being huge. There for him and guiding him. And hey, if I do it wrong, I can at least hang my hat on the fact that I actually fucking tried. A lot of people don't.
Go ahead, Sammy.
No, I was gonna say, Chibi says, trauma dump stream, let's fucking go. This might be a good time to just kind of add a little bit of levity to this situation.
Yes, bring it.
As both of you guys
tried to gear it back towards positive there, if you noticed, Sam.
And as you guys know, and as most of the chat knows, I was in Michigan for a family reunion, and also for my grandmother's memorial service. Now, this is my dad's mom who just passed away, and my mom was the one who traveled with me to Michigan, and she and my dad have actually been divorced for like 20 years as of this year, which is wild. And my father, he wasn't physically abusive, but he was verbally and mentally abusive towards me, which I've talked a lot about. But also he really he spread a lot of nasty rumors and lies about my mom after they got divorced. But now, because of his own life choices, he's kind of exposed himself, and people kind of see who he is now. And one of the things that was really interesting for me was like to see people on my dad's side of the family apologize to my mom for, things that they thought. And my mom, even though I've known her all my life and I know she has integrity.
I should hope you've known her your whole life, Sam.
I do, but I was still amazed just to like, she was very forgiving, and she doesn't hold grudges, and like that was amazing because some of the stuff that was said at her, like I might have been like, well, yeah, you should apologize or something like that, or but she didn't do any of that. She was just like, nah, it's cool. So
that is fucking cool. And that's another thing that just an overall point that I was just kind of trying to highlight. I kind of got lost there trying to explain context. I didn't mean to spell it. I mean, Sam, you know most of this. Max, I don't know you quite as well, but
I knew a good portion of it. There was some that was new to me, but again, like I was saying, like this is history for you. That's why it's so easy to just say it, and then you're like, oh shit, other people react differently that hadn't heard. I relate. It's fine.
Yeah, and I genuinely didn't mean that. But the overall point that I was trying to make, I guess, maybe not so much, but at least is tangentially related, is the idea that you as an adult and as a parent specifically, it's not just what you give them and what you tell them, it's how they see you act. Kids are not nearly as dumb as they should be. They're not nearly as fucking dumb as they should be at 5 years old or 6 years old or 10 years old. They see a lot more, and they form their own opinions, man. Based on the other things they've seen. They're their own fucking individual, and there's so much complacency I see with people and their kids. And not that I judge them, but like for them to just be like, it's fine. They're not thinking they need to mind their own business or something like that. It's like, I genuinely hope that's not your approach. And a lot of the times it is, and those kids are they've been under you for all those years, but they're not going to have anything that they didn't want to retain from you. If you didn't show integrity and why it's good and why it's good to, stand up, all the basic shit, you know what I mean?
And the negatives of your personality, they might actively go the opposite route.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Specific to me, like I will avoid. I'm not as bad, but one of the good things that one of my last relationship taught me was that like I need to be less conflict avoidant. I used to be like so conflict averse to the point where like it was bad, and like I still try and like kind of smooth things over a little bit.
You're a politician at heart. Yes, you are.
Max knows because like of the whole secret agent man situation, which by the way Jed loves that whole saga.
The secret agent man was just the funniest fucking shit ever. I love that.
But yeah, like even there, like I was trying to like kind of stop like a fight between you, and then I'm like, oh, these are two Bostonites. There's no way I can stop this. So two assholes.
Yeah, and I even put it in the video the moment everybody could see you having your cripple fight moment at us. Like, it's two assholes about to fight. Yeah, a cripple fight, basically.
Yeah.
Retard fight. That was
Yeah.
fun. That was a good time. But yeah, I mean, you are political, but that I think that works to your benefit.
Yeah, it does. So.
And also, I've seen the mouth that you can unleash if you so choose. So you're not a pushover either.
No, I'm not a pushover. At least not anymore. So, which, is good. So,
but yeah,
Jets
kids form their own things, and also they form shit from
Jets
outside of your home.
And Morpheus isn't here. So,
like that was.
You know what? That's actually a fairly good segue. I don't know what you guys talked about the title of this stream, but more and more kids are not Facebook, but iPad kids, Leapfrog kids, and just screens in general.
Screens, yeah. It's just tablets, and, phones, and all that shit.
Mm-hmm. And if they're going to get their information from these devices, which generally have CNN and various things automatically installed when you first turn the fucking thing on, if they click and they're gonna go through, and I mean, if they're young enough to just randomly be clicking through shit, they're not going to retain it. But any information, I mean, that's the one part about quote unquote misinformation on the internet that does like kind of make me whinge a little bit, is the fact that I know there are millions of little ass kids from any age that can, cognitively operate a device, which is pretty young. I've seen these days, to up to teenager, that can just, with no supervision whatsoever, they're on VR games, they're on fucking Roblox or Minecraft. Even if they're not just on social media, they're on these games, which have, they're getting their all sorts of just fucked up information.
I'll tell you mentioned Roblox. I had worked for a while. I haven't put it out, and maybe I will, on a documentary of what I found in the Roblox community, and it's fucking appalling. That if you put, I'll tell you this is the trick to find out if what I'm saying is true or not. Make a Roblox account and put an age in the like a year, like 2015 or something that would make you young, and put it in your username and see how long it takes for predators to approach you.
Yeah. I've heard.
It's not long. And then the first thing they're going to do is try and get you on a Discord, and then a secret Discord group, and on and on and on. They have a whole racket on how they get these kids to expose themselves, and then they use it to create, what do they call it now? Child sexual abuse material or whatever. Like, that's what they're doing. They get these kids on Roblox, they get them into a Discord community, and they convince them to take their clothes off. It's fucking sick. And I'm insane. Telling you, it took 4 minutes to get approached. I didn't say one word in chat. I just joined a server, and within 4 minutes, because I had that year in the tag, I was getting the most explicit messages you could imagine. Ugh. Fucking sick. So and that, by the way, half of all children in America play Roblox at least once a month.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah. My kid, he has a tablet, but we have extreme parental controls on it, and he has limited screen time. Same with the video games. He has limited screen time. Because you can't just have the screens raise your kids, because again, it's like I say, the influences from a parent is one thing, but the influences outside that you can't control are another thing. And then there's the influences inside that you can control, like the screens. And most parents don't know how to use the parental controls.
I mean, I was going to say it's bad enough if you run into like a teacher that's particularly ideologically charged, that's teaching your kids, 25, 30 years ago when we were growing up. you know, if you or a teacher that was whatever, if they were bad for whatever reason, that was bad enough to deal with back then. But when you've got the whole fucking internet, and if you just give it to your kids, like it, I mean, I don't know many people that just give the internet to their kids, but I know a few.
Well, and I'll tell you,
there's no reasoning with them either.
I had an interview a couple years ago that I did with Augustus Invictus, who is a friend of mine. And a lot of people wanted to talk about, oh, you got kicked out of the LP and all this, stuff that happened. But what we ended up talking about was that he's a dad, I'm a dad, right? And we ended up talking about this exact topic because, quite frankly, there's nobody to teach us because the boomers don't know this shit. They didn't have to raise kids with fucking screens in their faces every time.
That's
Gen X didn't either. So we're kind of winging it on our own. And yeah, it does. I mean, just at a glance, it seems pretty obvious that screen time, it can be very detrimental to kids.
Yeah.
So could that be wrong? I guess it seems self-evident.
No. It's not. It's so blatantly obvious that I find the arguments to be fucking, they always come from, like a negative place. It's a lazy person. It's somebody that doesn't want to do this or doesn't, you know what I mean? They have their own justifications for making as much time for themselves, even though they have 1, 2, 3 children that they can. So I mean, it's no different than fucking TV when we were kids. And before that, I mean, I guess there wasn't a whole lot before that, but there's always been drains of attention. Once, the national media became like a thing, newspapers, radio, shit like that.
Even TV, it took a while, right, to be as prevalent. Like you mentioned, we're kind of we're the first 24/7 TV generation.
Yeah.
Because TV wasn't 24 hours a day in the 50s, 60s,
exactly.
and 70s.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it's so simply broke down to the fact that it is an intention-based economy, effectively.
Go
ahead.
This is one thing I always get, because I agree with what Max, you and Apex are both saying. Like, you really need to watch your kids like on the internet, and people always call me a little bit of a hypocrite for that, because I was doing a podcast when I was a teenager.
Bro, I was in all the crazy internet shit when I was in high school. Like, before anyone was, I was the nerd that was into. So I know what it's like, and it is a little hypocritical. But because of that experience, Sam, just like me and you have experience to know when they're going to be fucking with you. You know when they're going to be getting one over on you.
Hold on. Yeah. Go ahead. Sammy, finish what you were saying.
Well, I would also say, though, too, Max, that like it might be a little hypocritical, but not really, because I mean, I hate to say this, but the internet, you and I, Max, are a lot closer in age as far as the internet goes compared to your son and my sisters, who are roughly around the same age.
That's a good point.
Age.
Yeah, it's a different internet.
The three of us have experience with like a much more common internet than younger people do now.
Well, it's not the internet. It's not even the screens. It's social media. Like Apex just said, attention-based economy. And as you can see he's right. It's an attention-based economy. You know how you can prove that? Because the people doing the worst shit get the attention. Yeah. And it doesn't harm them at all. It actually makes the money.
Yeah, which that was, I mean, I've shared with you both, like that was one thing that was kind of baffling, was like I hadn't been making content, with the podcast for years and putting effort into it, and then the e-drama, portion of the internet came along in like 2014, 2015, and just started doing the most degenerate shit possible and made bucket loads.
Sam, or did I lose me?
Can you hear me? Let me see here. Alrighty, so am I here or did we
Sorry, Sammy. I had to pee, man. I stepped away for like fucking 45 seconds. I'm sorry. Where'd Max go?
I don't know. We lost Max, and then I refreshed because I thought maybe I was like maybe I had lost connection, but the stream cut out briefly, but we're back. So yeah. But no, we were talking how like social media wasn't a thing when any of us were growing up. Like that's a new thing.
Very new. Yeah, I mean it's barely fucking 15 years old, right?
Not even in most cases. Like
I mean, if you include things like Snapchat and YouTube, which I always considered YouTube to be a form of social media. I mean, obviously it's not
right.
Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, but you have the ability to interact with. You can make something and then interact with the people that watch it. You know what I mean? So sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah. No, the thing that's weird for me is all these like online dating apps, which I've tried some of them.
Yeah.
And they're dumpster fires. So
yeah, that's one of the few
like,
I've never joined. But go ahead, sorry.
And like I only know one person who actually met their wife on one of them, and they have like a successful marriage. But that's like one person out of like all my other friends and whatnot who haven't had like any success with those dating apps.
Sure.
So
yeah, I mean I imagine it's a lot like dating in general, just amplified, just with like everything else. It's just with a you have way more opportunity to try more times, more often, and as a result, people's standards change, people's expectations change, etc., etc.
I am quite thankful to have been with my wife since before that was a common thing.
You know what? Since we're on the particular topic, I got to tell you guys and the audience. So there's a woman that works at one of the stores near where I work that I've seen fairly frequently for months, right? She's cute. She's not gorgeous, but she's cute. She's quirky, and I find her attractive. And I've been trying to build the confidence to like just try to talk to her, but she's always at work. You know what I mean? Like I see her and she's at work and she's usually pretty busy. So I'll do the basic shit like, hey, how you doing today? And because she can't hear or, she's like on the other side of the wall, she works in the kitchen basically, never really an opportunity. Right. Mm-hmm. So she came into my work recently and bought some stuff. And I was like, oh shit. And it was fairly slow. So I thought, I mean, it had been months. I'd been thinking about this and like, man, I just talk to her, just make a basic fucking conversation, bro. She's not wearing a ring, so she's not married, but you could at least be like, what do you do? What are you interested in? Can I take you out to dinner? So, or something like that. Coffee, whatever. Just be normal.
Just be normal, yeah.
You fucking retard. So yeah, so I saw like my first real opportunity when she came into my work, and I started exactly like that. I was like, "Hey, can I ask you something?" She's like, "Yeah." Like, what do you like to do when you're not at work? And that just started a natural conversation. It was good. We talked about a couple things for about a minute or so. And my boss, who was on his way out the door, saw me talking to this girl with nobody else around and interrupted us to be like, "Hey, I need you to come here. I want to show you. I need you to do this. And can you take care of this for me?" And whatever. And it was a straight up cock block. He for sure could have just texted me those things, but he saw an opportunity to fucking kick me in the shins. So I was like, fuck, whatever. No big deal. Like I made an effort. I felt good about it. I was happy. So a couple days later, I was back in her work buying food on my way, buying a snack. And she walks up and like slams a bucket on the counter. She's like, "You seemed like you wanted to talk about something the other day." I was like, "Yeah, I saw that you, oh fuck. I'm sorry. I skipped a part. I'm sorry. Like shortly after that, I was kind of high on after I'd talked to her and my boss cock blocked me. After that, she left and he left. And I was like, damn, I was talking to one of my coworkers. I'm like, damn, dude, I finally fucking got some balls. And I talked to this girl. My coworker, he's like, which one is that? And I said her name. He's like, "Oh, she's married. You know that, right?" Like, no, she's not. She doesn't wear a ring. He's like, "No, she's married. Her husband works for the same company. He does like maintenance work and stuff." It's like, oh, fuck. Okay. So again, back to where I was in the story. I go into her work a couple days later. She slams the bucket down. She's like, "You seemed like you wanted to talk about something." I was like, "Yeah, I didn't realize you were married." I was gonna, I was trying to like flirt, I guess, to see if I could take you out on a date. She was like, "Who told you that I was married?" I was like, "What?" Well, I mean, Paul, the coworker that worked with her.
That's right. You throw that motherfucker under the bus immediately.
That's right. Fucking piece of shit. No, but no, this is the part. This is where it gets why I wanted to even bring it up in the first place. Because all this is just, I could have brought this part up, earlier when we were talking about talking to girls. Because I'm also cripplingly shy. Even though I'm 6'2", skinny, pretty fucking jacked and kind of handsome. Even though I'm losing my hair. But, so anyway, she's like, "You seem like you want to talk. Who told you that?" I was like, "Well, Paul told me." She was like, "Well, I am technically, but you should text me anyway." I was like, oh. So she writes her number down and gives it to me. And I'm thinking separated, divorced, or working on
papers
something
on the way kind of deal.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I find out shortly thereafter. Oh God, I hate this so much. That they are swingers.
Oh no.
Yeah.
How did I know? I actually knew that was going to be the case. So,
so not only that, but that I am immediately like, I have no interest. I don't want anything to do with that really. She is cool. She's our age. She, grew up similarly. I guess similar interests for them. I mean, she's cool. She's like a cool girl, but unfortunately, she very rapidly became pretty like obsessed with the idea of me.
Oh God.
Yeah. Because I'm fairly charming. Again, I'm tall and not short and fat. I mean, they've been married for like 16 years, but it's
you expressed interest.
Yeah, for a long time. Like I was apparently like I definitely was flirting with her for months, but I could only
you had. But it's clear you're just not into that whole lifestyle. So that's that.
Well, yeah, it should be.
It should be. Yeah, it should. But sometimes bitches be crazy.
Well, it's honestly more the fact that I feel so bad for her because she am probably the brightest light she's seen in a long, and it sounds
no, that's fair because look, if her husband is like that, yeah, I agree with you. Sorry.
He's also like fucking 5'5". He's fat. He's like several years older than her. They got together when she was like fucking 17 and he was 23 or 24.
Jeez.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about trauma. There's a lot of shit going on there. And me, as the kind of person I am, feel like she deserves a little bit of positivity. So I don't want to be that guy that's just like, look, I don't want anything to do with any of this. So instead, I'm gently trying to navigate my way through it without committing to anything or letting her, but it's not working very well,
my
guys.
thoughts and prayers are with you on that one,
Yeah,
sir.
it's not going well, chat. I'm just gonna say
that.
Not chat. Give them all the bad advice. Come on.
Go ahead, Sammy.
I hate to say that this Apex, but I've actually been in like a kind of similar boat to you.
Hold on, before you tell that story, before you tell that, I do want to make it clear that I have actually gotten something out of it too. It is very nice to feel like
wanted,
desired, just in general.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
And the fact that it's all sanctioned by all parties involved, as far as I know, I mean, I don't feel bad about like, you know what I mean? There's not that innate like, oh, right, this married woman is trying to cheat on her husband. It's like, we've been doing this for like 3 months, and whatever. I mean, whatever. The truth is, it's his idea, but she's the woman, so she's the one that's getting the piece, and he's not. Whatever. None of that matters. Sorry, Sam. But the point is, it feels nice to feel desired, and I don't want to like.
No, and that dude does wonders for a dude's confidence too. Even if it is a situation that won't work out necessarily, just knowing that, hey, there is that girl out there that thinks I'm attractive can be a boost. Obviously,
this is one of those times, Sammy. Like, and I wish I was kidding, but I have legitimately heard Owen Benjamin in my head from the times I've clipped him when he was those weeks or months or however, where he was talking about empathy is poison, empathy is bad. And I was making videos like, you fucking retard, lack of empathy is a psychopath. And I think I get what he's saying. Like, you can definitely have too much empathy and put yourself too far into trying to help someone without putting a stop on you type of thing.
Sure, but it's not so black and white either, right? Yeah.
No, definitely not. But it's
I agree. A lot of people I find, because I'm not like that really. Obviously, I'm kind of a dick. I find that they really do put themselves in a pretty tough situation over and over again because they just don't want to say the thing. Now, I'm kind of known as the guy that just says the thing. That's who I am. It's how I operate. I just speak directly. And over the years, people have confused that with that I don't have empathy. It's not that I don't have empathy. It's that I don't let it get in the way of me, but I do have immense empathy for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's the states of man. I mean, that's sort of the problem nowadays is like an idea or a position becomes popular and everyone just falls in line and parrots that, whether they really believe it or not. And then you create others. It's this whole political, I mean,
it's almost pseudo philosophical too, right?
Yeah. And the truth be told is in the most prominent years of my adult life have also been the guy that just says the things, but I've always tried to be articulate and like, at least sympathetic. I've never tried to be an asshole really, but I also
It just comes so natural.
Right. I just got really good at melding the two for a long time in the peak of my, again, adult life before I fell off all of the wagons. But yeah, you know, confidence, that's, again, circles back to that. If you don't believe in what you're saying or thinking or wanting to say, then it's not going to come out confidently.
Yeah.
And you got to look for those. See, you found the silver lining in that story.
Yeah.
You guys just brought up like so many points that
Sorry, Sammy. Yeah, we should give you the floor for a couple minutes.
You had a swinger story. Let's go. Come on.
I wish I had a good one. I did have a chick who I was interested in, and then I found out that she was a swinger, and I was like, yeah, no, that's a hard pass. So I also had but again, to what Apex said, it was nice to feel wanted. So sure. I also had
it's also okay to have standards. There's some guys I've talked to even recently, not you, not even Apex, but I've talked to some guys where I'm like, bro, like you gotta have standards for yourself, right? Because you are worth it. You're worth having those standards. If it makes you like, I get it. There's people that are into the polyamory thing, but if you're not, and it's going to genuinely make you uncomfortable and potentially cause problems, it's okay to just say, I'm not into that, you know?
Right. Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing is like, I don't want it to sound like judgment against them because I get it. I for sure get it. The only other thing that keeps popping up is the idea that why would I be ashamed of fucking some other dude's wife, you know, that wants to have sex with me? Why would I feel bad about that? Well, because I do. Because why don't I have my own woman? Why don't I have my own family at fucking pushing 40? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of reasons to feel bad about that. But you know,
or just that you think highly of marriage itself, it seems.
I genuinely, I think highly of, you know, relationships in general. I really do. Yeah. But marriage as a sanctity has not meant a whole lot to me growing up, you know, for the most part. But I definitely get it. I would like that. But
well, you're just not. You don't want to violate somebody else's for your own benefit. That's like just genuine. That is you respecting the sanctity.
Yeah. And truth be told, I don't fully believe.
You know,
I don't fully believe because I've only talked to the husband twice, and he does not seem super comfortable with the whole thing. So I think she's pushing harder than he wants to, which makes me uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I'm not cool. I don't want anything to do with any of that. You know,
that's a bunch of drama that you, as a grown middle-aged man, don't need.
Yeah, I mean, this
you might want it. Like I've seen guys that like to get themselves in those situations. Don't get me wrong, but you don't sound like you want to add that to your plate.
No, look, I would really like some pussy, but I don't like. It's not
at
that
what
good.
cost?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Sammy. I'm sorry we keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
Yeah, go, Sam. Sam, tell.
No, I mean, I've been in that situation too at Apex where like I've met a chick and she's been like really hot and like she's attractive and she wants me, but I can also tell because I have a good intuition about people that she's batshit crazy too, and deep down I know that it's not gonna work, that it would not work out for me, and so like because of that. I've had to pass, and I've had like some of my guy friends have been giving me shit for that. Like, why would you pass up on X? Name the woman, and I'm like, because she's insane, and they're like, well, yeah, we know, and I'm like, yeah, but it's not worth it.
Do you want to spend 18 years tied at the hip to a person that's crazy?
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. So
A lot of times
You know,
people really rule that out
also,
entirely, but then it happens to people and all of a sudden they got a baby mama. You know what I mean?
yeah, and you know what happens a lot of times on both
yeah.
male and female ends of the spectrum is you meet a crazy that you think you can tame, or you think you're the right fit for, and you're gonna bring them back down to earth. And sometimes it works, and when it does, it's some of the most beautiful shit that can ever happen in relationships. But it's not likely. It's all about standards, fellas, and setting them, like you were saying. It's okay to have standards. It's okay to have
those will build
metrics.
confidence, actually.
Yeah, 100%. Especially when you stand on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's a long-term game versus you might get laid in the moment and then feel terrible about yourself or get yourself in a bad situation because you lowered your standards. Or just a situation you're not comfortable. That's the thing about standards. Sometimes the standard might just be, I'm not comfortable with X. That's all. That's a standard.
Yeah.
That's having a standard. So if a girl is X, then you're just kind of not into it. That's, because they'll tell you, oh, well, you got to overlook people's flaws. Yeah, to some degree. And then nobody's perfect, but there's also hey, I have a hard line about this behavior. Or that type of, or like a lot of guys, just because they get into a new relationship, this is a perfect example, they'll be okay with their girl flirting with other guys because, well, we haven't been together long. Well, but don't you deserve, if you think that this is a potential relationship, don't you deserve her to pay attention to you, right? And if you think that she can pay attention to everybody and you want that kind of open relationship, then fine. But if it does make you uncomfortable, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, don't flirt with other guys. If she's not okay with that, you're not going to work out long-term anyway.
Well, hold on. I mean, I could push that even further because you get to that point where you say, hey, I don't like you flirting with other guys. And she could come back and say, babe, that's how I interact with people. Like it may sound flirty to you, but look where I am right now. I'm with you. I didn't go home with anybody. I didn't go disappear with anybody. I'm here with you. And if you're so insecure that your beautiful, assumingly beautiful girlfriend can't be sort of flirty with other people in the room without you, losing your shit, then maybe there's something else going on there. I mean,
but either way, it's not going to work out. Because if you're that self-conscious about it and that upset about it and you're lowering your standards, then it's not going to work out whether you're right or wrong about it. You know what I mean saying?
Well, yeah, but this goes back to what I was saying earlier about learning some deep truths from people outside of yourself. Like in a situation like that, yeah, you're probably right. But there are definitely circumstances where you, in that situation where she says, hold on, I'm not trying to fuck them. This is just how I talk to people. And you can go, whoa, the fucking little universe thing, the meme can fucking explode in your brain, your brain exploding and going, wait a minute, maybe I'm thinking about this the wrong way. And your standards may have been set on a precedent that you had based on something previously. You know what I mean? And this person in front of you now is a whole different standard than you've ever met before.
I can tell you 100% that I would maintain the course on that.
That's fine. And you're allowed to do that. I just mean the potential for, a standard like that, I feel like is vague enough that what you consider flirting compared to what somebody else considers flirting, that's a middle ground that can be met.
There's definitely gray areas in it. I wasn't trying to be universalistic about it, but I'm saying if you're uncomfortable with it and you're not going to be it, you said you had the brain explosion where but if you don't, right, then
for sure,
you're not going to.
Right. I just mean the potential in that situation, and maybe it's a bad example, but the potential where you've had like a rigid thought about there's no way I could be with a girl that
I
talks
actually think
to other.
The flirting is probably too extreme of an example for the points that we're making, actually. If that makes sense.
Again, yeah, perhaps, but again, I think it comes down to what you consider flirting. I mean, is she walking around trying to suck everybody's dick? Is she poking people? Is she physically touching them, or is she just talking in a sweet voice and saying things that, I mean, nothing sexual involved, but if they're just being, flirty, I don't, you know what I mean? Just nice. And I am accused of being flirty all the fucking time. It's got me in this trouble I am now.
Me too.
Yeah. I just like to compliment people. I like to talk to people like I would like to be talked to. Nobody ever does it, but just a general, I think the point though, I'm not disagreeing with you at all though, Max. I think you're 100% right. If you make that judgment yourself.
I'm not disagreeing with you either, is that there are situations. I just think the flirting thing, it kind of complicates it because there's such a variety of things, but like, I definitely can see what you're saying about there being a standard that you should shake off of at some point, for sure.
Yeah. So like, I mean, if you're right, like if your girlfriend is calling other people, like your friends or whoever, like cutesy names or something, like, oh, sweetie, or, laughing at their jokes and shit, there's a good chance that she's just being a good girlfriend and trying to be friends with your friends. And she's not, and you could be looking at the situation through like some negative lens that you're wearing from some other situation you've dealt with or other people you've dealt with, not this particular person. We're all different. We all have a lot of similarities, and some of us are very much alike. But the idea that we have everybody figured out from the jump is crazy. To not give people their grace, whether you're dating them or you're just meeting them for whatever the case may be. I mean, I don't know. I think we have a lot more to learn from each other than we give each other credit for, especially in this day and age. We think we've all got it all figured out. And I 100% agree with standards. You should never disavow those, but they are flexible, I think.
They definitely can be. Yeah. They should be.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that's a dangerous game, but so is
one
every
thing I find. I give younger guys that advice, right, to set standards for themselves, and then they set like these extreme, you know what I mean, like that they're never even gonna. Actually, the best example is Sam will be aware of this one because he was on the episode with me with Dave Grady, and I showed him Dave's list of questions for women. Now, Dave is the worst example possible, obviously, but Dave has standards that no woman like that exists on Earth. It's just not possible that she would exist. What are some of his things? She has to wear colored underwear that's fucking color coordinated to the goddamn holidays with her fingernail polish. She has to wear she can't wear white panties. She has to have a bush. She can't have any bigger than B cups. She, like, on and on, this guy will tell you all his standards. Dave is a 50-something-year-old virgin.
Yeah, it's a Christian type of shit, you know.
Yeah.
And again, they're sad casualties of, the terminally online and their ilk, and that genre is spreading further and further, and it's fucked up, actually, because I know a couple of people in real life that, like, I worked with them for a short time. Like the kid, I've mentioned him multiple times on this show. The gay furry Republican that's helping me, that's been building the fucking PC for me for months now. Like he is so fucked, man. He's a good kid and he's smart and he's not totally he's not totally retarded to social activities or like interactions or whatever, but he's so like marred or like weighed down, again, the gay furry Republican shit. Like he's not a furry, but I recently watched him have a literal mental break right in front of me where he was referring to himself, the name on his birth certificate, as he, and was speaking in the in the tense of his persona, and he was saying he's taking over all of these things because he has fucked everything up and he's left all this shit behind, or he's like he's too many jobs have built, or too many projects have built up, and I might, you know what, guys, now that I say these last several minutes out loud, I might be surrounded by literal crazy people.
There might definitely be some of them around.
I'm just kidding. No, he's genuinely a good kid, but it's one of those things where I see the problem. It's like he's spent so much of his time on Discord and on the internet and just fucking around and making memes.
Discord socialization has fucking ruined young people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they take that mentality of like anonymous shit posty drama. Everybody can get their roles and be moved around and your little secret chats and all that shit. And then they do it in real life. You know what I mean? Or somebody like that.
Yeah.
For example, somebody that's having obviously some kind of break will have fans that are like, yes, this is awesome. Well, that's maybe not helpful, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Even if it's just a handful of people in his Discord group, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sammy.
It's so funny you say that specifically, Max, that you know, you'll have people who are like fans of people's mental breakdown, because back in 2011, when Charlie Sheen had his infamous, you know, mental breakdown with the whole tiger blood thing and whatnot, like everyone thought that was like universally crazy, right? And then just a few years later, you know, the average person, the average influencer, God, I hate that term, you know, they have fans now, and a lot of them can spiral and go off the deep end. I mean, I know I bring him up a lot in this case, but I mean, look at Ethan Ralph. He's like a perfect example of.
He's got a whole squad of enablers, and whether they're legitimate fans anymore or not doesn't even matter. He's got numbers in his chat telling them that whatever he's doing is catching attention. He gets money, so he's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Yeah, no, and he's proud. Like that is a deep delusion. And even if it's, look, I find it really hard to believe that he actually believes the thing. Like you know what I mean? At the end of the day, when all the Twitters are closed and all the streams are closed, or rather when he wakes up in the morning, there's gotta be moments, if only a few, where he's like, I am so fucked, you know? In so many ways.
It comes through, you know, it comes through that his confidence is false too. That's the other thing. When I say have confidence in yourself, if you build yourself up to a false level of confidence that's bullshit and start to believe it, that can be bad. You got to have some humility as well. It's a balance between the two, really. Being confident, but also being humble. That's like, that's what being a man is all about. Finding the middle ground between those
literally the struggle of man. That's literally what it is.
Yeah, and that's something that I've worked on all my adult life, really, and something I still work on. You know, like everyone thinks I'm nice, and I am. I try to be, but also, like, you know, I don't fuck around either. Like, if people try and piss me off, you know, I'll bite someone's head off, as you both have seen. So
so many people like to call me, you know, sweet, nice, and sweet, and I always correct them as weak. Because currently that's what I am. It's just weak. It's just weakness.
Well, we've been going for about like 2 hours and 45 minutes, gent. Anything else?
Yes, one more thing, Sammy. I need you to grab the your shirt, the collar, not where the button is.
Lose you guys, or
are you don't hear me? Can you not hear me? Sammy, oh fuck. Did you?
Oh no. You hear me, right?
Yeah, I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I can hear you guys. It was
Okay.
my mic wire.
Sammy, just for canon's sake, I need to confirm whether or not the buttons on your shirt are actually aligned or if you're one button up as you almost always do. Is there an extra buttonhole on the buttonhole side of your shirt? Is there a button? No, the one you just grabbed. No, the up top on your, was that your, yeah, that one right there. Is there a buttonhole right there?
Yeah.
There is. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not the collar.
Yeah,
That's not the
yeah,
collar button, buddy. You got a collar button hole above that.
Yeah.
I fucking love you, man.
The more things
love
change,
you.
the more they stay the same.
I fucking love you.
I
dude.
always do that. So.
I know you do, and I point it out as often as I see it, and I love it very much. And I love you, Sammy, and I love you, Max, and I love all you chat. Thank you guys for having me. I'm very happy to do the show again.
For that shit.
Yeah, I
wear t-shirts.
we were having you on. So, but
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, and Sam,
yeah,
I believe that there is like a product that you've released recently that maybe you should talk about.
Wait, is it some of dogs? Is there a dogs involved, perhaps?
Yeah. When Apex was like talking about like gay furry Republicans, my mind actually flashed to this cover for
it's very out of
Dogs
focus.
War, which actually
I love the focus is so locked in Sam's face. Yeah.
Put it in front of you, Sammy. There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
where can they buy that?
You can buy this on Amazon. Link is in the description of the video and will be in the show notes of the podcast as well. You can find the other two books in this series as well, The Fourth Estate and Shadows of Deception, the first book. Also, the audiobook is out now too. So you can check that out.
See, now
and,
you
stay
can
tuned because
you can binge listen to all three now that they're out. The whole trilogy is out on Audible. That's dope.
Yeah. And stay tuned because I'll have some more announcements in September regarding the series.
Ooh.
So
and keep a lookout. Oh, never mind. I love you guys.
So
thanks, chat.
So yeah,
thanks for having me.
Thanks to everyone who has
always a pleasure.
Supported the book, and thanks to Apex for coming on. So
and if you enjoy the program, please come check out tomorrow night. Bits and Bones is going to be live on their channel right here on Rumble, talking about gaming, and they got a lot. They got that chat where they're always putting up this gaming news. Way more show prep than we do. And speaking of way more show prep than we do, Saturday nights is the Sandwich Makers broadcast, which I have the pleasure of producing with Chibi Pen and Maxine. They've been having a lot of fun lately, and hey, outperforming us, so that's cool.
Yeah, the girls are crushing it, man.
Yeah.
And check out Sandwich. Check out Right to Offend Media, man.
And then we're also extending one officially, and one that I'm pretty sure is happening next week. So we're definitely starting. My wife is doing. I forget the title she gave it, but she's doing a paranormal themed podcast. I better look.
Can I do that?
And she's gonna have guests. I know Bort's gonna be on. I think you're gonna go on, Sam, right? Not me, me, because I'm a skeptic and an asshole.
Can I go
so
on?
I don't want to ruin her show.
Excuse me. Can I go on?
I believe that she's already. She didn't ask you. She meant to.
I believe also our mutual friend who I know both Apex and Max know. I believe Denny is gonna pop in at some point.
That's right.
too.
So this, I forgot
For
about that,
that.
Sam. Thank you. This coming Saturday, I believe, is only going to be Maxine hosting, and she's going to have Denny, Atomic Denny, as a guest, and they're going to be talking about cooking.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that'll be fun.
They're actually making sandwiches on the Sandwich
Yeah.
Maker podcast.
That was one of the original ideas they had, was they were going to do a recipe every week, but they do so much goddamn show prep that it's not a surprise they haven't done that yet. But yeah, we wanted to have something like that, right? And also, Sam will be excited for this one. I don't even know if he's aware, but a Shmooly show starting soon.
Ooh.
Oh.
Now that he's got his own office up and running, Shmooly's about to get in the game. So,
yeah, well, I'm impressed with that. So
that is awesome.
Like I said, Whitfield Report Monday show. My old partner in podcasting, Jason Veely, I interviewed him last night, and that episode will be airing Monday. So tune in for that. And that should be
we actually have
exciting for y'all
every day for like the next week.
Yeah,
I have a hypothetical for you guys. I plan to narrate a public domain short story and post it somewhere, because I keep getting told to do that. So Sammy, yeah, so keep an eye out on Right to Offend Media, where I just read some fucking Winnie the Pooh story or something, very dramatically, in hopes that somebody will pay me to do so in the future.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
be awesome.
Voice actors and stuff, so that's not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, like people have been so creative lately and wanting to be a part of it that it's been really humbling, because it's just an idea.
Man. It's awesome.
Like, I had an idea in my head. Hey, I'll help out my friends promoting podcasts and stuff. And now it's like, it's getting a bit much for me.
That's how the best things in the world fucking start, man. It really is.
Yeah.
And of course you can't do it all by yourself, but we're all here.
And also, Apex, I have been asked for you to narrate shit too. A lot of Sam have people asked you to get them to narrate shit, because they're asked me and Morpheus and everybody else.
I'm happy to, man. I'm not that hard to reach. I would love to.
People like your radio voice. What can I say?
I'm pretty good at it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Whitfield Report. The Winday edition of the Whitfield Report. The Zuck confirmed that we already knew. Ladies and gentlemen,
the fact that you did it in retard for our audience is beautiful. You got to speak the language of the people.
Hold on.
And quite appropriate too.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Whitfield Report, found on rumble.com/the Whitfield Report. You can also buy the books on Amazon.com, The Dogs of War, and the other one, and then the fourth one, and then that one, and then the thank you for listening. Okay, that's all I got. Sorry.
Was it? Is it God, family, country,
God, freedom, legacy.
All right.
God, freedom, legacy, and
hold on.
order.
Hold on. God, freedom, and legacy in that order.
We couldn't sign off on anything better than that, Sam. Let's go.
Somebody clip that, please. Love you guys.